Chapter 1724. Geniuses remember love go little in a second? Say, providing you with a wonderful novel to read. What's going on inside? The Demon King, who was wearing a dark green robe, had a tall and straight body like a steel spear, a hooked nose, sharp eyes, and a 7-colored feather flashing on his forehead, stared deeply at the strange undying land of inheritance, and asked coldly. Reporting to the Peacock King, it is very dangerous inside. There are many powerful formations. We were only a few thousand meters in before we were attacked by the formations. If the three of us didn't run fast enough, I'm afraid we would have died inside like the others. A great demon who was lucky enough to survive reported the dangers of the inheritance to Peacock King, one of the 3 great demon kings. Then do you know what kind of person left behind this secret realm? Peacock King asked with his hands behind his back. His eyes flashed with ferocity as he asked in a low voice. I don't know, but judging from the dangers inside, the person who left behind this secret realm is definitely not simple. The great demon said. Extreme Bird King, let your subordinates go in and explore the dangers inside. I want to know who left behind this secret realm. Peacock King ordered after pondering for a while. Yes, Peacock King. A petite 1-star fey immortal bird monarch in a 7-colored dress with several colorful feathers on her head obeyed. She took out a flute and gently blew it, summoning a large number of fist-sized birds that flew into the undying land of inheritance at an extremely fast speed. Not long after, Extreme Bird King's expression changed slightly. She could feel the birds that flew into the undying inheritance dying one after another. She sensed danger. My king, my birds all died after flying in about 3,000 meters. Extreme Bird King said with an ugly expression. Those birds were her children, and so many of them died at once. It made her heart ache. A love go little say, net chew all dead? How dangerous is it inside? Peacock King said with a pale face. Extremely dangerous. Experts below the divine realm have no chance of survival after entering. Extreme Bird King said. Come, you guys follow me in. The more dangerous a place was, the more likely it was to have great fortunes. Peacock King took a deep breath and led the 8 monarchs into the dangerous undying heritage ground. He wanted to rely on his absolute power and methods to break through the dangers and seize the fortune. What a terrifying aura! Just who left behind this secret realm? Barging into the undying inheritance land, Peacock King immediately felt that the space here was different. Mysterious light patterns were flowing in the space, like maggots in the tarsal bone, constantly attacking them. However, the strength of the Peacock King's group of 9 was extremely terrifying. These light patterns couldn't threaten them at all. Very soon, they had penetrated several thousand meters and were blocked outside by a profound array. Your Majesty, this formation is very dangerous. Most of my birds were killed by this formation. Extreme Bird Monarch said with a serious expression. All right, all of you back off. I'll break the formation. The Peacock King took a deep breath, and the dazzling feathers of the peacock appeared behind him. One after another, dazzling rays of light shot out and attacked the grand formation that was blocking the way. Rumble! Under the attack of the peacock feathers, countless formation patterns emerged and rapidly revolved above the grand formation, forming a whirlwind of light patterns that neutralized the peacock feathers' attack. Roar! The attacks of the peacock plume were continuously torn apart by the formation. The deep eyes of the Peacock King shone with an ominous glint. He raised his head and let out a long cry. A giant peacock appeared from his body, flapping its dazzling wings like a divine phoenix. It broke into the formation of the extreme gyration formation. Ka. Under the attack of the peacock's shadow, the extreme revolving array violently trembled, and a series of cracking sounds could be heard. Divine Feather Sword, break for me! When the peacock's shadow blasted the grand formation, the peacock feathers floating behind the Peacock King turned into rays of extremely powerful light swords that could cut through the heaven and earth. They slashed into the grand formation, and the terrifying attack directly cracked the grand formation, forcibly breaking the first grand formation. "Your Majesty is mighty!" Witnessing the scene of the Peacock King breaking the grand formation, the 8 monarchs shouted in unison. "Let's go, we will continue to go deeper." The Peacock King revealed a trace of a proud smile and continued to lead the 8 monarchs into the depths of the land of inheritance. Not long after, they encountered another extremely powerful ancient formation. The Peacock King attacked and broke it with all his strength. However, when breaking the second grand formation, the Peacock King clearly felt the pressure. Clearly, the power of the second grand formation was far beyond the first one, and this was just the beginning. All of you, observe the surroundings and see if there is any valuable information left behind. The Peacock King summoned a 5-colored divine sword that floated above his head and ordered loudly. "Yes, Your Majesty." The 8 monarchs obeyed and observed the surroundings, looking for any valuable information. Although no one had entered the undying land of inheritance before, the 8 monarchs searched almost every corner, but they were not confident in finding anything valuable. Soon, the Peacock King and the other monarchs were blocked outside by a terrifying grand formation. And this grand formation was like a heavenly canopy that sealed the entire land of inheritance. If they wanted to enter, they only had to break through it by force. When the extraordinary Peacock King, who had reached the pinnacle of the 3-star monarchs, summoned the 5-colored divine sword to attack this heavenly canopy-like light formation, he suddenly felt the space tremble. A pitch-black feather floated down from the heavenly canopy-like light formation. Feather! Looking at the feather that fell from the sky, the Peacock King's pupils suddenly contracted into a dangerous pinhole shape. He felt a trace of dangerous aura from this feather. Just as he controlled the 5-colored divine sword to attack this feather suddenly emitted an endless black light that swallowed all the light in the surroundings. In the next moment, this feather transformed into a huge black bird. Its long cry shook the heavens and earth as it attacked the Peacock King with astonishing speed. Bang! This huge black bird collided with the 5-colored divine sword and immediately produced a terrifying rebound force that forced the Peacock King to take a step back. "Let's attack together and destroy this black bird." The Peacock King was not careless and immediately ordered the 8 monarchs to attack this huge black bird together. However, this huge black bird's speed was extremely fast and its body had an extremely strong recovery ability. The Peacock King and the others worked together and attacked fiercely for more than 2 hours, but they were still unable to destroy it. 5 Elements Mountain suppressed the heavens and earth. In order to restrain the huge black bird's unpredictable speed, the Peacock King summoned the 5 Elements Mountain and controlled it to release a powerful 5 Elements power. It suppressed this part of the world and forcefully restrained the huge black bird. When the huge black bird was suppressed by the 5 Elements Mountain, the 8 monarchs tacitly attacked at the same time. The terrifying attack caused cracks to appear on the huge black bird's body. 5 Elements Sword of Heaven and Earth. When the huge black bird was severely injured, the Peacock King deduced the 5 Elements power to the extreme and activated the 5-colored divine sword's strongest attack. The sword split the space and slashed the huge black bird's broken body, forcefully shattering it. Then, the Peacock King and the other 8 monarchs used their strongest attack at the same time and attacked the sky-like light array. They wanted to gather everyone's strength to forcefully break it open. However, when the attacks of the Peacock King and the other monarchs bombarded the light screen, an unexpected force was reflected from the light screen and reflected their attacks. Not good! The Peacock King and the others' faces changed slightly. They all summoned their defensive trump cards to defend themselves and resolve the crisis. Boom! 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 After a series of intense explosions, the Peacock King and the others were blown away by the powerful rebound attack. They fell more than 1,000 meters away and were severely injured. Perfect Anti-Theft Chapter. Please use the search engine to search for keywords. Read, a better reading experience. Chapter 1725. A genius remembers love go little in a second? Say, to provide you with interesting novels to read. The Peacock King is injured. A piece of shocking news exploded outside Qingshan village, shocking many big demons and setting off a huge uproar. The Peacock King was one of the 3 monster kings of the monster area. He commanded hundreds of thousands of big demons and was the most powerful in the monster area. Even with his strength, he was injured by the dangers in the secret territory. This made the big demons feel the danger and horror of the secret territory. For a moment, no more big demons entered the land of inheritance, and the atmosphere became tense. After another 3 days, a towering demonic aura appeared above Qingshan village. The aura was so strong that it shocked the big demons hiding in the mountains. Peacock King, I heard you are injured. A man in a dark golden robe with cloud patterns, a towering crown on his head, and a pair of black boots walked over step by step in the air. He had a bulky figure and a terrifying presence like a mountain. He spoke in a mocking tone. King Qilin, I didn't expect him to be here too. Looking at this man with a terrifying aura, many people recognized him. He was one of the 3 monster kings of the monster area, King Qilin. His strength was above the Peacock King, reaching the level of a 4-star monster immortal. The reason why the overall strength of the monster area was stronger than the Heavenly Clan and the Demon Clan was because of the bloodline of the Monster Clan. Whether it was the King Qilin, the Peacock King, or the Divine Ape King, who had not appeared yet, they all had the bloodline of the divine beasts flowing in their bodies. Their cultivation speed was much faster than the other clans. What does this have to do with you? The Peacock King looked at the King Qilin with hostility and said, Go in and try to break the restriction inside if you can. Alright, I'll go in and take a look now. Let's see if this restriction is really that powerful, or if it's just an empty name. The King Qilin sneered. Under the furious gaze of the Peacock King, he entered the land of inheritance of the undying bird. He wanted to use his powerful trump cards and strength to break the restriction inside and obtain the great opportunity inside. Although the King Qilin's strength was stronger than the Peacock King, the undying bird was a peak monster ancestor. The ancestral formation she left behind was very powerful. The King Qilin led a few big demon kings to the light curtain-like restriction, but they were also blocked by the restriction. Looking at the sky canopy-like restriction in front of him, King Qilin summoned several trump cards to attack with all his might. However, the power of the sky canopy-like restriction was beyond his imagination. All the attacks launched by King Qilin and the other demon kings were all reflected by the light canopy-like restriction. After trying for a few days, King Qilin and the others, who were covered in wounds and looked terrible, returned to the land of inheritance without success. Come, let me guess. Did you break through the light screen restriction and enter inside? King Qilin looked at the heavily injured King Qilin and said mockingly, I think it's time to break the light barrier. Otherwise, it would be a waste of our extraordinary strength. Peacock King, do you want to die? If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. King Qilin warned, gritting his teeth as he glared at Peacock King, who had provoked him in front of everyone. Yo, you're angry because of this? The Peacock King said sarcastically, Do you really think you're the king of the demon realm and can do whatever you want? Peacock King, you've forced me to do this. The demon territory was sealed because of the internal strife between the 3 demon kings. Looking at the Peacock King who kept provoking him, the Qilin King was completely enraged. He roared furiously and slashed at the Peacock King with a pair of heaven-reaching axes that weighed hundreds of millions of pounds. Love go little say, net, chew screech. An ear-piercing howl rang out as the Peacock King held the elemental sword in his hand to meet the attack with all his might. The moment he attacked, a huge peacock phantom appeared on his body and let out an angry howl at the Peacock King. Bam! The 2 heaven-reaching saint weapons collided with each other. The explosive force cracked the extremely hard space of the demon realm. Under the impact of the two's attack, the vegetation within a few miles of them turned into dust and drifted in the air. King Qilin, is this all you've got? After a head-on clash, the Peacock King's eyes shone with a cold light. His entire body suddenly expanded, and he let out an earth-shattering roar at the King of Qilin, exploding the heavy air and ruthlessly bombarding the King of Qilin's body. Although King Qilin's defense was extremely strong, he was still pushed back more than 10 steps by Peacock King's attack. He left several deep footprints on the ground. The big demons who were watching from afar were shaken to the core by Peacock King's attack. They were bleeding from their 7 orifices and were in great pain. Peacock King, King Qilin. It seems that the demon realm being sealed has something to do with them. Yi Chunfeng, who was hiding in the Qiankuan realm, could feel the intense battle between the 2 demon kings outside the undying land of inheritance. He smiled faintly and continued to wait patiently. The current situation was what he wanted to see the most. Only when the situation became more chaotic, and all the demon kings of the demon realm arrived, would they have a chance to break through the danger in the land of inheritance and let him enter safely. Although King Qilin's realm was higher than Peacock King had many powerful trump cards. In addition, he had a deep understanding of the 5 elemental Tao. He was not at a disadvantage in the fierce battle using the 5 elemental Tao. Peacock King and King Qilin were fighting fiercely. The sky was dark and the earth was dark. They were constantly destroying the Green Mountains. Many big demons were scared and retreated. They were afraid that they would be swept away by the destruction caused by their fierce battle and suffer a tragic accident. Just as the 2 demon kings were fighting fiercely without giving way to each other, several powerful demon chis appeared. The 3rd demon king of the demon realm, the divine ape king who ruled the ape demon territory, appeared with several big demons. The appearance of the divine ape king made the 2 demon kings who were fighting fiercely to stop their attacks and look at them vigilantly. Why did you stop fighting? The divine ape king, who was wearing a phoenix pattern robe and had a graceful figure, exuding an invisible charm like a ripe peach, showed a cold smile and said, "Divine ape king, do you want to reap the benefits without doing anything?" King Qilin glared at the divine ape king and growled. "So what if I do?" The divine ape king sneered and said, "If both of you are injured, I don't mind killing all of you. This way, the demon realm will regain its peace." King Qilin's eyes shot out thick flames of anger. Peacock King fell into silence and looked at the divine ape king with a cold gaze. "All right, don't look at me like that." The divine ape king smiled and said fearlessly, "If you guys are sure that you don't want to fight, let's talk about cooperation." "Cooperation? What do we have to cooperate for?" King Qilin said with hostility. "Although I have not entered the mystic realm, I know that the danger inside is beyond imagination just by looking at you guys. However, the more dangerous the place is, the more likely it is to have a great opportunity. Therefore, if we want to get the opportunity inside, we have to cooperate to have a chance," the divine ape king suggested. Cooperation. The relationship between the 3 demon kings of the demon realm was not harmonious. They did not trust each other and had never cooperated before. However, they felt that the opportunity in the mystic realm was not to be underestimated. If they could get it, they might be able to use the opportunity to control the entire demon realm. "All right, I agree with the divine ape king's suggestion," Peacock King said after pondering for a while. "I agree too. Let's wait until we break the restrictions inside before we snatch the opportunity with our own abilities." King Qilin also agreed in the end. "Since all of you agree, let's wait until all of you recover from your injuries and enter together to take a look." The divine ape king revealed an unfathomable smile as he landed outside the entrance of the mystic realm and waited patiently. Reading, a better reading experience. Chapter 1726. 3 days later, The three demon kings led their subordinates into the undying land of inheritance and worked together to break through the dangers of the undying land of inheritance. The three of them were the absolute overlords of the demon region, and they had powerful trump cards. With the help of many demon beasts, they broke through the layers of restrictive spells like a hot knife through butter. Even the restrictive spell that blocked their path was broken by their combined efforts. After breaking through the sky screen restriction, the three demon kings did not slow down. They controlled their respective treasures and continued to break through the restrictions of the undying land of inheritance. They slowly moved towards the core area of the restriction. When the time was right, Yi Chunfeng did not wait any longer. He quietly left the universe realm, changed his appearance, and quietly entered the undying land of inheritance. He followed the three demon kings and went deep inside. The undying demon ancestor had a deep understanding of the space rules. Using the powerful space power, he opened up an extremely vast space. The three demon kings spent a lot of effort and spent more than a month, but they were still unable to go deep inside. However, when they broke through the restrictions, they obtained many ancient sacred items of heaven and earth. They also guessed that this secret manual was left behind by an ancestor-level expert. After another month, the three demon kings and the other greater demons worked together to break through an extremely powerful ancestral formation. The scene in front of them changed greatly. A black castle appeared in front of them, swallowing all the light around it and emitting a strange aura. Castle, there's actually a castle here. Looking at the castle that swallowed all the light in the distance, the demon king's eyes lit up. This made them believe that the inheritance here was definitely left behind by an ancestor-level expert. There was definitely an earth-shattering treasure in the castle. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. An ear-piercing sound of something breaking through the air rang out. The three demon kings raised their speed to the peak and rushed towards the black castle. They wanted to break through the restrictions that enveloped the black castle and enter to snatch the treasure inside. When they broke through the first restriction like a hot knife through butter, they suddenly stopped, and their expressions changed greatly. They discovered that under the huge gates of the black castle, there were 12 men wearing black armor and holding spears. They were emitting a thick aura of death. Just by looking at them, the three demon kings could feel how terrifying they were. Especially the aura of death emitted by their sacred mountain, which made them feel suffocated. What a terrifying puppet! Just what kind of great figure left behind this opportunity? Looking at the 12 black-armored men in the distance, the three demon kings said with a solemn expression. However, they could not give up the treasures in the black castle. Even though they knew it was dangerous, they did not retreat. You go and test their strength. King Qilin waved his hand and ordered one of his subordinates to test the strength of the 20 black-armored puppets. Yes, yes. King Qilin's subordinate gulped. Although he knew that it was dangerous to test the waters, he was even more aware of King Qilin's methods. He had no choice but to bite the bullet and slowly approach. Buzz buzz buzz. When he approached the 12 puppets, they all opened their eyes at the same time. Rays of cold light shot towards him, making him feel as if he had been pierced through. He couldn't help but shiver as he felt a chill from head to toe. The great demon sensed danger and instinctively tried to dodge. However, the death chi that permeated the 12 black-armored puppets suddenly condensed into a surging black stream that broke into the great demon's body. The great demon's body shattered, and his tough Yao core exploded. How terrifying! The strength of these 12 puppets is probably at the peak of a 6-star demon god. After witnessing the strength of the 12 black-armored puppets, the 3 demon kings' faces turned gloomy and they did not dare to act rashly. Alright, stop hesitating. If you want to obtain the great opportunity inside, do you think it is possible without paying a price? Peacock King took a deep breath and said, Alright, attack with the ancestor statues. The ancestor statues were the last resort that the demon race in the Void God world had given to the 3 demon kings. They were also their trump cards and they rarely used them. Once the power of the ancestor statues was depleted, they would lose their greatest reliance. The two demon kings might take the opportunity to annex their forces. However, at this very moment, after witnessing the strength of the 12 black-armored puppets, they knew that they had no choice. They had to summon the 3 ancestor statues and borrow the power of the ancestor statues to kill the 12 black-armored puppets. Puff, puff, puff. The 3 demon kings spat out a large amount of blood essence and fused it into the 3 ancestor statues that they had summoned, activating the 3 ancestor statues. Waves of terrifying ancestral aura spread out from the ancestor statues. The aura was so strong that it instantly suppressed the aura of death from the 12 black-armored puppets and shattered the seal. Ancestor statues. I did not expect the 3 demon kings to have such a trump card. Looking at the ancestor statues that were floating in the air and releasing powerful ancestral aura, Yi Chunfeng, who was mixed in the crowd, revealed a trace of surprise. Ancestor statues, destroy them for me. The 3 demon kings shouted in unison and ordered the activated ancestor statues to grow bigger and bigger. With powerful ancestral aura, they attacked the black-armored puppet. Kacha! The 3 ancestor statues shone brightly. They took a step forward and directly shattered the solid space. With powerful ancestral aura, they flipped the entire space and annihilated the 12 black-armored puppet. Buzz! 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 Sensing the danger of the 3 ancestor statues, the 12 black-armored puppets immediately joined forces to attack. Streaks of sharp spear light pierced through the void like dancing black dragons and fought fiercely with the 3 ancestor statues outside the black castle. The 12 black-armored puppets were refined by the immortal demon ancestor. Not only did they have shocking attack power, but their defense power was even more terrifying. However, the 3 ancestor statues were the last trump card of the 3 demon kings. Their power exceeded the limit of the god tier and reached the ancestor tier. The 12 of them joined forces and resisted the attacks of the 3 ancestor statues for a while. However, as time passed, the strength of the 3 ancestor statues was gradually revealed. The terrifying attacks completely suppressed the 12 black-armored puppets and caused cracks to appear on their solid black armor. Seeing the 12 black-armored puppets being destroyed by the 3 ancestor statues, suddenly, streaks of black light shot out from the depths of the black castle and entered the bodies of the 12 black-armored puppets. They quickly repaired their broken bodies and supported them to continue fighting the 3 ancestor statues. What? Seeing the scene in front of them, the faces of the 3 demon kings darkened. After fighting fiercely for several hours, the consumption of the 3 ancestor statues was obvious. If they still could not destroy the black-armored puppets, the consumption of the 3 ancestor statues would be even greater and greatly weaken their foundation. What are you waiting for? Quickly attack and destroy the 12 black-armored puppets. The 3 demon kings ordered loudly with gloomy expressions. They ordered their subordinates to attack the black-armored puppets together. Under the simultaneous attacks of more than 100 demon kings, the 12 black-armored puppets' injuries became more serious and more cracks appeared on their black armor. Seeing that they were about to be destroyed by the combined forces of the demon kings, streaks of black light shot out from the black castle again and entered the 12 black-armored puppets' bodies. They repaired the cracks on their bodies and supported them to continue attacking. Damn it, let's cut off the space together. Seeing the black-armored puppets' bodies being repaired by the black castle again and again, the 3 demon kings were furious. They summoned a large number of array flags and merged them together to form a powerful defense array, forcibly cutting off the connection between the black castle and the 12 black-armored puppets. Boom! 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 The intense fighting sounds became louder and louder. When the 12 black-armored puppets were destroyed by the 3 ancestor statues and the demon kings for the 3rd time, the black light released by the black castle was blocked by the array formed by the 3 demon kings. Destroy. Chapter 1727. Phew, we've finally destroyed the 12 black-armored puppets. The The three demon kings heaved a sigh of relief as they looked at the shattered pieces of the black-armored puppets scattered all over the ground. 3 ancestral statues, push open the city gates. Time was of the essence. The 3 demon kings immediately controlled the 3 ancestral statues to push the huge black city gates together. Relying on their absolute strength, they broke the seal on the city gates and pushed open the city gates that had been sealed for countless years. What a strong aura! The black city gates were pushed open by the 3 ancestral statues. A strong and ancient aura spread out from the black castle. Walking into the black castle, the demon kings immediately took out moonlight stones to illuminate the entire castle. They realized that there was a large yellow formation floating in the castle. Powerful formation patterns flowed on the surface of the formation. In the middle of the formation, there was an ancient formation flag with a large black bird engraved on it. That flag looks like the undying bird. Could that be the demon bird royal flag of the undying demon ancestor? Looking at the formation flag floating in the yellow formation, the eyes of the 3 demon kings who had lived for countless years lit up. They vaguely guessed who had left behind this secret realm. If that's really the demon bird royal flag, then this secret realm might be the land of inheritance left behind by the undying demon ancestor. The excited Peacock King said softly. The land of inheritance of the undying demon ancestor. The Ape Divine King and King Qilin were even more excited. The undying demon ancestor was almost the emperor of the demon clan. His strength was only a step away from the empty god realm. Legend had it that the undying demon ancestor had 3 treasures: the demon bird royal flag, the undying wings, and the life and death plate. The demon bird royal flag was a supreme-grade sacred weapon, while the undying wings and the life and death plate were ancestral weapons. There was also the immortal demon ancestor's immortal inheritance, superpower. Even the empty gods were envious of it. If they could learn it, it would greatly increase their foundation. Let's work together to break the ancestral formation, then take the demon bird royal flag with our own strength. What do you think? King Qilin's eyes flashed with a fierce light. All right. The formation that sealed the demon bird royal flag was extremely powerful. They had to gather the strength of all the demons to break it. Ape Divine King and Peacock King had no choice but to work together. Since no one has any objections, let's work together to break the formation. After saying that, the Peacock King, the Ape God King, and the Qilin King summoned their respective treasures and attacked the ancestral formation that sealed the demonic bird imperial flag. They wanted to use their absolute power to break it open. Buzz, buzz, buzz. After being attacked by the 3 monster kings, the yellow ancestral formation suddenly emitted a light that was even more dazzling than the sun, illuminating the entire divine palace. It was so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. Withstanding the blinding light, the 3 monster kings summoned their respective divine treasures and attacked fiercely, trying to break a hole in the ancestral formation. However, the power of the array left behind by the immortal demon progenitor was extremely terrifying. The attacks of the 3 demon kings were unable to threaten the earthen yellow ancestral array at all. They continued to shatter and were unable to damage the earthen yellow ancestral array at all. Screech! The Peacock King looked up to the sky and let out a long cry. A huge peacock shadow appeared behind him. He leaped up high and used a powerful demonic technique, wanting to shatter the rapidly spinning ancestral patterns. All of a sudden, more than a dozen arm-thick ancestral runes shot out like lightning bolts at the Peacock King. These terrifying attacks destroyed the Peacock King's attacks and destroyed the Peacock Phantoms that tried to stop them. PFFF. Although the Peacock King managed to dodge the attacks of the ancestral runes with his strange movement technique, the ancestral aura that permeated the divine palace still injured him. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth as he fell heavily to the ground. The Peacock King was injured. The Ape God King and the Qilin King's expressions changed slightly. They stopped their attacks and distanced themselves from the terrifying formation, giving up on the idea of breaking it by force. Sensing that the yellowish-brown ancestral formation in front of them could not be broken by brute force, the three Monster Kings had a discussion and gathered all the Monster Kings who had studied formations in their respective factions to study this grand formation and find an opportunity to break it. At this time, Yi Chunfeng didn't enter the Black Castle. Instead, he went to the back of the castle to study the God-Eater brain. He sensed a powerful restriction. Space-swallowing bug, quickly bite through this restriction. After studying it for a few days, Yi Chunfeng summoned the space-swallowing bug and ordered it to bite through the restriction. He wanted to enter the Black Castle from the back to seize the treasure. Master, this restriction is very powerful. I'm afraid it will take some time to bite through it. The space-swallowing bug transmitted a message when it sensed the terrifying restriction. It's okay. With their strength, it will take even longer to break the ancestral array and seize the treasure. We should have enough time, Yi Chunfeng said. Days passed by. Yi Chunfeng hid behind the Black Castle, guarding the space-swallower bugs that were constantly tearing at the restrictions. Meanwhile, the great demons that the three demon kings had gathered to break the formation had also rushed to the Black Castle, using all of their abilities to study the ancestral formation, looking for an opportunity to break the formation. Soon, a month passed. In this month, the space-swallowing bug had bitten through a gap that was half a person's height in the restriction at the back of the Black Castle. It brought Yi Chunfeng into the Black Castle from the inside and quietly entered the second level of the Black Castle to see the second ancestral array. In this ancestral array, there was a statue that had gone through the vicissitudes of time. Its surface was mottled, its eyes were as sharp as swords, and it had a pair of black wings on its back. Undying wings, the undying demon ancestors' undying wings. Looking at the statue in the ancestral array, Mo Ling floated out of the demon's sealing sword and looked at the black wings greedily. Mo Ling, what is the level of the undying wings? Because of the ancestral array, Yi Chunfeng couldn't sense the level of the black wings and asked. The undying wings is a treasure that the undying demon ancestor refined using its own wings. Its level is definitely an ancestral artifact. If you can get the undying wings to recognize you as its master, ordinary ancestral experts won't be able to catch up with you. Mo Ling told Yi Chunfeng what he knew. Ancestral artifact. Yi Chunfeng was clear about the power of the ancestral artifact. It could be said that the ancestral artifact was a top-notch treasure in the Void God world, second only to the Void God artifact. It had the terrifying power to destroy everything. If he could get the undying wings, even if he went to the Void God world, there wouldn't be many people who wanted to kill him. I must get the undying wings, Yi Chunfeng decided inwardly. Mo Ling, do you have a way to break this ancestral pattern? Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and asked. Kid, you think too highly of me. This is the ancestral array left behind by the undying demon ancestor. How can I break it? Mo Ling rolled his eyes at Yi Chunfeng in an extremely human-like manner. All right, I'll think of a way myself. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and sat cross-legged beside the ancestral array. He controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce, looking for an opportunity to break the ancestral array. What a profound array structure! When Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to break the array, he realized that the array structure of the ancestral array was extremely profound. It was difficult for the God-Eater brain, which was constantly evolving, to understand it. Chapter 1728. Time flew by and 2 months passed quickly. There were still 7 months before the undying inheritance land closed. After 2 months of comprehension, the God-Eater brain had figured out the structure of the ancestral array. However, the power of the ancestral array was too terrifying. Yi Chunfeng did not dare to act rashly. He still patiently controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce, looking for the best opportunity to break the array. The great demons of the demon clan, who had studied the array for 2 months, also found the opportunity to break the array. However, when they found the opportunity, they tried to break the array, but they were attacked by the ancestral marks. In an instant, 3 great demons of the array, who could not dodge in time, were killed and turned into a cloud of blood mist. Damn it, it's been 2 months and I still can't break this array, King Qilin said angrily as he couldn't break the ancestral array. Do you think it is so easy to get the inheritance of the undying demon ancestor? The charming divine ape king glanced at him angrily. King Qilin said coldly, "That's right. The undying demon ancestor is the most powerful ancestral demon of the demon clan. If his inheritance is so easy to get, this ancestral array is fake. Moreover, even if you break the array, the demonic bird royal flag will not belong to you." Peacock King retorted, "Humph, this demonic bird royal flag must be mine. Whoever dares to touch it will be killed without mercy." King Qilin snorted and said domineeringly, "Is that so? Then let's see who the demonic bird royal flag belongs to." Peacock King was not afraid of King Qilin at all. Although the charming divine ape king did not speak, her determined eyes showed her determination to snatch the demonic bird royal flag. It could be said that the demonic bird royal flag determined their fate. No matter who obtained the demonic bird royal flag, they could use the power of the demonic bird royal flag to suppress the other 2 great demon kings and unify the demon realm in the most chaotic situation of the demon clan in the void god realm. Just as the 3 great demon kings were waiting to break the ancestral array and snatch the supreme sacred artifact demonic bird royal flag, the God-Eater brain finally found the best opportunity to break the array. "Demon spirit, lend me a hand." Finding the best opportunity to break the formation, Yi Chunfeng abruptly opened his tightly shut eyes. He ignited his powerful bloodline and instantly raised his strength to the limit. Borrowing the power of the demonic spirit, he activated more than 300 ancestral marks. The way of equipment manipulation. Then, Yi Chunfeng executed the Tao of weapon control and slashed at the formation. The terrifying sword might slash through the layers of ancestral runes, creating a gap in the formation. Primitive Tao embryo seized the immortal wings. Although the ancestral formation was broken, Yi Chunfeng didn't rush into the dangerous ancestral formation. Instead, he summoned the primitive Tao embryo and let it enter the ancestral formation to seize the immortal demon progenitor's wings. Buzz buzz buzz. Once the primitive Tao embryo entered the ancestral formation, it was immediately attacked by countless ancestral patterns. However, the primitive Tao embryo's body was extremely tough, and the ancestral patterns couldn't harm it at all. Chaos Divine Wood suppressed the ancestral formation. In order to reduce the pressure on the primitive Tao embryo, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Wood and controlled it to grow bigger. It floated above the ancestral formation and extended a large number of 5-colored roots into the ancestral formation. It attacked the ancestral patterns in the ancestral formation and forcefully weakened the power of the ancestral formation. Taking advantage of the Chaos Divine Wood suppressing the ancestral formation, the primitive Tao embryo appeared beside the immortal statue. It hugged the statue tightly with both hands and pulled it out of the ancestral formation. Boom, boom, boom. In the process of bringing the immortal statue out of the ancestral formation, the primitive Tao embryo was bombarded by the ancestral patterns. Even with its indestructible body, it couldn't withstand it and cracks appeared. Fortunately, the Chaos Divine Wood was constantly helping it to dissolve the pressure. In addition, Yi Chunfeng was fiercely attacking the ancestral formation with the demon's sealing sword in his hand. Finally, the primitive Tao embryo paid a heavy price to bring the undying deity statue out of the ancestral formation. Black Divine Stone. This statue is actually made of black divine stone. This is too extravagant. Looking at the immortal statue, Mo Ling once again floated out of the demon's sealing sword and circled around the statue twice. Black God Stone. a top-grade crystal used to forge ancestral artifacts. God-Eater had an introduction to the Black God Stone in his mind. The Black God Stone was an extremely precious crystal in the Void God world. Not only did it contain powerful energy, but it was also extremely hard. It was one of the main materials to forge ancestral artifacts. I didn't expect you to have such knowledge. You know about the Black God Stone, Mo Ling said in surprise. Such a large piece of black divine stone, if brought to the Void God realm, I'm afraid you can exchange it for quite a few good treasures. Not to mention, this black divine stone even has a pile of ancestral artifact-level wings. Immortal wings. Yi Chunfeng slowly walked to the immortal statue. He bit his finger and squeezed out several drops of essence blood into the immortal wings, trying to make them recognize him as their master. Suddenly, the immortal statue's eyes shot out millions of rays of light, piercing towards Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng's pores stood up in an instant as he instinctively defended. But the moment he defended, the immortal wings moved. Like two black heavenly wheels, they cut through space and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng, wanting to cut Yi Chunfeng's body into pieces. At this critical moment, Yi Chunfeng crushed the life-saving talisman given to him by the immortal bird. It formed a strange power in front of him that dissolved the immortal wing's attack. Chaos Divine Wood suppress. Yi Chunfeng did not retreat. Under the protection of the life-saving talisman, he summoned the Chaos Divine Wood to suppress the immortal statue. Then, he kept spitting out primordial blood into the immortal wings, trying to make them recognize him as their master. Primordial blood, you actually have primordial blood. Suddenly, a deep voice sounded in Yi Chunfeng's soul sea. In the next moment, a soul shadow with a bird's head and covered in black light appeared in his soul sea. It gave off an unparalleled feeling. You are the immortal demon ancestor. Spying on the invincible soul shadow in his soul sea, Yi Chunfeng did not panic. With the God-Eater brain, he was not afraid of any soul. I didn't expect you to know me, the immortal demon ancestor said. It seems that you are not a nobody. Can you tell me where the primordial blood flowing in your body came from? My father gave it to me. Yi Chunfeng pondered for a moment, but still told the truth. Because the immortal demon ancestor was already dead and only a remnant soul was left, he was not worried that the immortal demon ancestor would spread his secret. Moreover, he had a feeling that the primordial blood might be able to move the immortal demon ancestor and make him give him the inheritance. Your father, where did he get the primordial blood? The immortal demon ancestor continued to ask. The ancient road of the stars. Yi Chunfeng said. The ancient road of the stars. It's really there. The immortal demon ancestor was born a long time ago. Not only did he know about the ancient road of the stars, he had also entered it before. However, he was unlucky and did not obtain heaven-defying items like the primordial blood or the Chaos Divine Wood. He only obtained the Life and Death Plate and the Life and Death Origin. However, with the help of the Life and Death Plate and the Life and Death Origin, he created his own inheritance and became the absolute overlord of the demon race. Junior, other than the primordial blood, what else did your father get from the ancient road of the stars? The immortal demon ancestor asked with a strong interest in Yi Chunfeng and his mysterious father. The Chaos Divine Wood. Yi Chunfeng said. The Chaos Divine Wood, the number one divine wood in the universe. The immortal demon ancestor produced a strong soul fluctuation. Wait, the Chaos Divine Wood you're talking about is the 5-colored divine wood that suppressed my sculpture in the outside world, right? That's right, that's it. Yi Chunfeng nodded. The primordial blood and the Chaos Divine Wood actually appeared in the same person at the same time. Could it be? The immortal demon ancestor fell into deep thought. Junior, if you promise me one thing, I will give you the immortal wings. Senior, do you want me to avenge you? Yi Chunfeng said. That's right. As long as you swear to avenge me and kill that hypocrite, I will give you the immortal wings. The immortal demon ancestor nodded. Alright, deal. Chapter 1729. Junior, I believe that you will definitely be able to kill that hypocrite Golden Pung to avenge me. However, you must be careful of Supreme Emperor Heaven. If Golden Pung is in trouble, he might lend a hand. After Yi Chunfeng made the oath, the undying demonic ancestor revealed a satisfied smile and solemnly reminded him. Supreme Emperor Heaven, who is that? Yi Chunfeng had a limited understanding of the various races in the Void God world, so he didn't know who Supreme Emperor Heaven was. Supreme Emperor Heaven is the patriarch of the Imperial Sky race. He has controlled the Imperial Sky race for countless years. Although he rarely appears in the Void God world, his strength is enough to intimidate the various races in the Void God world. The person who injured me back then was also him. Many thanks for Senior's warning. I will be careful. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "Oh right, Senior. May I know how to obtain your undying divine ability?" The undying divine ability and life and death plate were sealed by me at the top of this castle together with my skeleton. However, if you want to obtain them, you must obtain my skeleton's approval. However, you have the primal chaos divine wood and grand mist blood, so you will definitely be able to obtain my skeleton's approval. Alright, Junior. I have given you the undying wings, and my mission is over. I hope that you can fulfill your promise and destroy Golden Pung, returning the stability of my fiend race. After saying that, the undying demonic ancestor's phantom resounded in Yi Chunfeng's soul sea, and Yi Chunfeng returned to reality. Undying wings merge. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng summoned the undying wings, which he had dripped his blood on, and merged them into his body. If it was an ordinary person in the Tao Lord realm, it would be very difficult for them to refine the undying wings. However, Yi Chunfeng had the Grand Mist blood. Borrowing the Grand Mist blood, he easily established a connection with the undying wings and stored them in his body. He controlled the Grand Mist blood to quickly refine them. At the same time, the Fiend Region's great demons used all their skills and finally found the best opportunity to break the formation. After finding the opportunity, the three great Fiend Kings didn't hesitate and summoned the powerful ancestor statues. Borrowing the power of the ancestor statues, they attacked the ancestral formation and forcibly tore cracks in it. The demonic bird emperor flag is mine. The Qilin King roared and unleashed all of his demonic qi, transforming into a gigantic Qilin shadow. It trampled the space and rushed towards the ancestral formation, wanting to snatch the demon bird royal flag. You are courting death. Killing intent flashed in the eyes of the Peacock King and the Divine Ape King. They controlled their powerful trump cards to attack the King of Kirin, not giving him a chance to snatch the demonic bird imperial flag. But King Qilin's speed was too fast, and the timing was perfect. In the blink of an eye, he got rid of them and rushed into the broken ancestral formation, reaching out to grab the demonic bird imperial flag. The moment he touched the demonic bird emperor flag, a huge black bird appeared from the demonic bird emperor flag. It roared into the sky and flapped its black wings, attacking King Qilin. Die for this king! King Qilin's reaction speed was extremely fast. He held the red blood sacred axe tightly with both hands and slashed at the big black bird at a close distance, blocking the attack of the big black bird. Boom! King Qilin's red blood sacred axe collided with the big black bird's sword wheel-like wings. Endless sparks surged in the ancestral formation, and the terrifying power bombarded King Qilin's body, forcing him to retreat. The moment King Qilin was pushed back by the big black bird, the Peacock King, who was in hot pursuit, had a fierce look in his eyes. A huge peacock shadow appeared on his body. Great Five Elements Sword. In an instant, the Peacock King deduced the Tao will to the extreme. He slashed out a sword that contained the 5 elements of heaven and earth, breaking through the chaotic space and slashing at King Qilin, who had lost control of his body. He wanted to take this opportunity to kill him. Qilin blood fat. At the critical moment, King Qilin used his final trump card. His entire body turned crimson red, and a powerful bloodline power burst out from his body, pushing his strength to the next level. In an instant, he surpassed the 4-star demon god realm and reached the 5-star demon god realm, resisting King Peacock's attack head-on. Divine Ape King, what are you waiting for? This is the final moment to kill King Qilin. As long as we kill him, everything here will belong to the two of us. The Peacock King shouted at the Divine Ape King. His expression changed slightly as his great 5 elements sword was blocked by King Qilin's absolute strength. Sky upholding staff. The Divine Ape King tightened her grip on the pitch-black staff that was engraved with a dragon. Her enchanting eyes burned with a raging fire. She let out a roar and attacked the King of Qilin, who was surrounded by enemies from both sides. The two of you are courting death. A huge Qilin shadow appeared on King Qilin's body. He stepped on the void and charged towards the Divine Ape King like a shooting star, blocking her ferocious attack. Screech, screech, screech. Just as King Qilin was fighting the Divine Ape King and the Peacock King, an ear-piercing screech came from the demonic bird Emperor flag. The big black bird flapped its wings and swept up an endless gust of wind, attacking King Qilin, who was closest to it. The terrifying attack forced King Qilin into a desperate situation. Qilin 8 directions / In this dangerous situation, King Qilin increased his attacking power to the maximum. He burned his demonic elixir and deduced a powerful Tao will. He waved the red blood sacred axe and kept splitting out powerful axe shadows to block the attack. He wanted to break out of the encirclement and escape. Berserk! After smashing King Qilin's 8 directions / the Divine Ape King immediately turned into the strongest berserk state. He held the black divine staff and attacked King Qilin like a towering mountain, not giving him a chance to break out of the encirclement. Qilin blood fat burned completely. King Qilin was enraged as his injuries continued to worsen. He roared in anger and burned the Qilin bloodline to the maximum extent. He continued to stimulate his own potential and waved the red blood sacred axe to attack King Qilin with all his might. He shook off the Divine Ape King's attack and tore the black wind apart. 5 elements mountain smash. While King Qilin was using his absolute strength to break the Divine Ape King's attack, the Peacock King opened his mouth and spat out a mountain shining with 5-colored divine light. It fell from the void and smashed towards King Qilin. Upper grade celestial holy treasure. King Qilin's face changed when he felt the destructive power from the 5 elements mountain. He poured all his demonic power into the red blood sacred axe and used all his strength to resist the 5 elements mountain. Boom! There was a loud explosion. The moment the 2 treasures collided, it created a terrifying destructive power. It shattered the ancestral runes in the ancestral array. In addition to the attacks of the 3 ancestral statues, the ancestral array that sealed the demonic bird royal flag was about to be broken. King Qilin, stop your futile struggle. Accept your death. After injuring King Qilin with the 5 elements mountain, the Peacock King continued to control the 5 elements mountain to attack. He wanted to kill King Qilin while he was injured. Just you wait. I swear that I will destroy both of your forces and make you regret what you have done today. King Qilin wanted to retreat as his injuries worsened. He used all his strength to resist the attacks of the 5 elements mountain and looked for a chance to break out of the encirclement. Screech! Just when the situation was reversed and King Qilin was seriously injured, the demonic bird royal flag suddenly flew out of the broken ancestral array. It shook in the void and formed a terrifying force. It disrupted the space and swept towards the 3 monster kings. The terrifying attack sent them flying. Chapter 1730. Oh no, the demonic bird emperor flag wants to fly away. Looking at the swaying space, the demonic bird emperor flag, which was releasing a shocking power, looked like it was about to fly away. The three demonic bird kings' faces changed drastically. They gave up on killing each other and controlled the ancestral statues to suppress the demonic bird emperor flag, wanting to snatch it away. Screech! However, the demonic bird imperial flag had its own consciousness, and even though it was being suppressed by the three ancestral statues, it continued to flutter its wings, conjuring up terrifying black bird phantoms that attacked the three ancestral statues, weakening their attacks. The demonic bird emperor flag must be mine. King Qilin, who was severely injured, suddenly flew into the air and approached the demonic bird emperor flag with great risk. The moment he got close to the demonic bird emperor flag, his biggest reliance, the Qilin blood fat, flew out of his body and crashed into the demonic bird emperor flag under his control. Oh no, he wants to use the Qilin blood fat to force the demonic bird emperor flag to recognize him as its master. Seeing King Qilin's action, the ape deity and peacock king's faces changed slightly. However, it was too late to stop him now. They could only pray that King Qilin failed to recognize him as its master. However, the Qilin blood fat was a treasure refined from the ancestral blood of the Qilin clan. It contained a strong ancestral aura. When a large amount of Qilin blood fat was sprayed on the demonic bird emperor flag, the attack of the demonic bird emperor flag suddenly became sluggish. The swaying destructive hurricane no longer attacked King Qilin. This made the ape deity and peacock king's hearts drop to the bottom. The two of you, just you wait. When I recognize the demonic bird emperor flag as its master, I will personally twist off your heads and let you know the consequences of going against me. After establishing a tacit connection with the demonic bird emperor flag, King Qilin revealed a ferocious look. He looked at the ape deity and peacock king's eyes became terrifying. Let's go together. We must not let him recognize the demonic bird emperor flag. Otherwise, you and I will be in danger. Sensing the seriousness of the situation, the Peacock King and King Qilin flew into the air and attacked King Qilin with all their might. They wanted to kill him before the demonic bird emperor flag recognized him as its master. Qilin roared in all directions. As the Peacock King and the Divine Ape King approached, the Qilin King's strong body suddenly swelled up and let out a shocking roar. Like a surging tsunami, it swept towards the two demon kings, not giving them a chance to get close. As for the great demon hiding in the distance, when he heard King Qilin's omnidirectional roar, he immediately felt his soul tremble. His head felt like it was about to explode. Break! Enduring the King of Kirin's 8-directional god's howl, the Ape God King raised his attack power to the maximum. He held the black stick tightly and smashed it towards the terrifying howl. With a strike of the staff, a gigantic staff that was hundreds of feet long appeared in the chaotic hall. It tore through the terrifying roar and smashed towards the King of Kirin. However, under the attack of the 8-directional god howl, the power of the ape god's staff was greatly reduced. It was unable to threaten King Qilin at all and was deflected away by the red blood sacred axe in his hand. 5 elements sword of heaven and earth. When King Qilin forcefully broke the attack of the Ape God King, the Peacock King's body turned into a ball of Tao intent that was rapidly deducing. Streaks of light swords that were filled with the 5 elements of heaven and earth flew out. Every 5 elements light sword was able to destroy a low-grade heavenly saint weapon. The terrifying power made the great demon hiding in the distance tremble in fear. He quickly escaped from the hall. Boom! 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 The Peacock King's 5 elements sword of heaven and earth clashed fiercely with King Qilin's killer moves in the void. The terrifying power caused cracks to appear on the coiled dragon pillars. Just as the two of them were using all their skills to kill each other, the Ape God King threw out the black stick with all his might. It was like a black dragon that was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws as it attacked King Qilin. Seeing the ape god throw out the black stick that was filled with billions of pounds of force and piercing his chest, the demon bird emperor flag that was continuously fusing with the Qilin blood fat suddenly let out a long roar. It blocked in front of King Qilin and neutralized the black stick that the ape god threw out. The demon bird emperor flag is protecting its owner. Could it be that he really used the Qilin blood fat to make the demon bird emperor flag recognize him as its owner? Seeing the scene before them, the Peacock King and the Ape God King's faces changed drastically. They could feel the seriousness of the situation. If King Qilin really subdued the demon bird emperor flag, it would definitely be a devastating disaster for them. King Qilin would definitely take over the demon bird emperor flag and destroy them, ending their lineage. Ape God King, Peacock King, I have already said that this demon bird emperor flag will definitely belong to me. Looking at the demon bird emperor flag that was blocking in front of him, King Qilin revealed a sinister and arrogant smile as he spoke arrogantly. Not necessarily. Suddenly, a cold voice resounded in the chaotic hall. A sword shadow that was more than 10 times the speed of light suddenly appeared and slashed towards the complacent King Qilin at a speed that was hard to be seen by the naked eye. Who's that? King Qilin did not expect that someone would appear on the second level of the castle. He held the scarlet blood sacred axe and instinctively defended himself. At the moment when he defended himself, he felt an unimaginable force passing through the scarlet blood sacred axe and entering his arms. The impact caused his arms to feel severe numbness. His entire body was pushed back by more than 10 meters. Undying wings / After pushing back the severely injured King Qilin with a single slash, Yi Chunfeng controlled the undying wings that had just recognized him as its master to flap violently. It formed a series of extremely powerful wing slashes and attacked King Qilin. Although Yi Chunfeng's current strength would consume a lot of energy to use the undying wings to attack, he had an unlimited amount of Dao power after burning his Hongmeng bloodline. It was enough to cover the consumption of the undying wings. The undying wings was an ancestral artifact. Although Yi Chunfeng's current strength was still unable to unleash the true power of the ancestral artifact, an ancestral artifact was still an ancestral artifact after all. Its power was much stronger than a heavenly sacred artifact. Although King Qilin had the protection of the demon bird emperor flag, he was still injured by the intertwining wing slashes of the undying wings. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. The undying wings. That seems to be the undying demon ancestor's undying wings. Who is this person? Why does he have the undying wings? The Ape God King and the Peacock King were stunned by the sudden scene before them. Seeing Yi Chunfeng possess the undying wings, a huge wave of emotions surged in their hearts. Chaos Divine would suppress the demon bird emperor flag. When King Qilin was sent flying by the undying wings, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Chaos Divine wood to suppress the demon bird emperor flag. After numerous transformations, the Chaos Divine wood became more and more terrifying. Especially after devouring the Death Ghost Tree, the Chaos Divine wood possessed the might of an ancestral artifact and easily suppressed the demon bird emperor flag. Ancestral artifact. Another ancestral artifact. Seeing the demon bird emperor flag being suppressed by the Chaos Divine wood, the Ape God King and the Peacock King were even more shocked. The ancestral artifact was a treasure that only the Void God world had. It contained the power to destroy heaven and earth. They could not imagine that the seemingly young Yi Chunfeng actually possessed 2 ancestral artifacts. Hongmeng blood, recognize your master. The moment the Chaos Divine would suppress the demon bird emperor flag, Yi Chunfeng spat out a few mouthfuls of Hongmeng blood and merged it with the demon bird emperor flag. Chapter 1731. No, how could this be? King Qilin couldn't believe that the duck in his mouth flew away just like that. He let out an unwilling roar. The demonic bird royal flag is mine, it must be mine. Ancestral statue, kill him for me. King Qilin stared at Yi Chunfeng with his blood-red eyes and ordered in exasperation. Woo woo woo. Under King Qilin's order, The ancestral statue flew over with a powerful ancestral aura. With a punch, a large area of space collapsed. Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to take the attack head-on, and quickly flapped his undying wings to dodge. Let's kill him together. King Divine Ape and Peacock King looked at each other and immediately controlled the ancestral statue to attack Yi Chunfeng. They wanted to kill him and seize his 2 ancestral artifacts. You want to kill me? In your next life. The threat of the ancestral statue was too great. Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to take the attack head-on. He flapped his undying wings and dodged the attacks of the 3 ancestral statues. He quickly flew to the 2nd floor of the castle. Where are you running to? King Divine Ape and the other 2 demon kings roared and accelerated to chase after Yi Chunfeng. They followed him through layers of restrictions and arrived at the 2nd floor of the castle. They saw the broken ancestral array. Damn it, who are you? Why did you enter the 2nd floor of the castle before us? Looking at the broken ancestral array, King Divine Ape and the other 2 demon kings were furious. They couldn't believe that Yi Chunfeng could sneak into the 2nd floor of the castle and obtain the undying wings that were countless times more precious than the demonic bird royal flag. What does this have to do with you? Yi Chunfeng sneered and quickly arrived at the broken ancestral array. Wait until I capture you. I want to see if you are still so stubborn. King Qilin roared furiously and controlled the ancestral statue to attack Yi Chunfeng. However, after the continuous fierce battle, King Qilin's ancestral statue had consumed a lot of energy. In order to kill Yi Chunfeng and obtain his treasures, he didn't care so much and controlled the ancestral statue to attack with full force. Buzz buzz buzz. When the 3 ancestral statues arrived, the ancestral formation Yi Chunfeng was in suddenly activated. Powerful ancestral runes shot out, attacking the ancestral statues and neutralizing their attack. What? How can he control the ancestral formation? The Divine Ape King and the other 2 demon monarchs had a drastic change in expression. If Yi Chunfeng could control the ancestral formation, then the 3 ancestral statues would have to pay a hefty price to break the ancestral formation. Hun Dun, your old enemy is outside. Do you want to meet him? As the divine beast of chaos grew stronger, he regained his memories. He knew that it was King Qilin who had suppressed him and wanted to kill him. His father and mother had also died in the hands of King Qilin. Boss, let me out. I want to skin it alive. The chaos divine beast roared. All right. Yi Chunfeng nodded and summoned the divine beast of chaos from the universe mirror. Chaos divine beast. Seeing the sudden appearance of the divine beast of chaos, King Qilin and the other 2 demon monarchs were stunned. King Qilin's heart was in turmoil. He recognized that the divine beast of chaos in front of him was the divine beast of chaos that he had suppressed in the lower world. Old bastard, you wanted to kill me by cutting off half of your finger. You didn't expect that I would be able to escape and return to the heaven region. When the chaos divine beast saw his enemy, he transformed into his human form and cursed at the chaos divine beast furiously. Little bastard, I didn't expect your life to be so tenacious. Even that couldn't kill you. But that's fine too. Wait till I capture you and refine your demonic core. Maybe my strength will increase by another level. King Qilin said coldly. I'm afraid that day won't come. Yi Chunfeng replied, his voice filled with killing intent. Divine Ape King, Peacock King, why don't we put aside our hatred for each other and kill them? After we kill them, we will fight for the treasures on their bodies with our own abilities. The threat of the 2 ancestral artifacts on Yi Chunfeng was too great, so King Qilin had no choice but to ally with the 2 great archfiends. All right. Divine Ape King and Peacock King looked at each other and nodded. They continued to control the ancestral statues to attack the ancestral array. Although the ancestral array was powerful, the ancestral array that Yi Chunfeng was in had been broken by him. Under the attacks of the three ancestral statues, the ancestral runes that were flowing at an extremely fast speed were constantly being broken. While they were attacking, the three demon monarchs continued to mobilize their troops and summoned a large number of great demons to attack together. They destroyed the ancestral array and pressured Yi Chunfeng and the divine beast of chaos. About an hour later, the broken ancestral array was broken. The terrifying attacks annihilated Yi Chunfeng and the divine beast of chaos, trying to tear them apart. Where are they? After the endless destructive attacks, the three demon monarchs were shocked to find that Yi Chunfeng and the divine beast of chaos were nowhere to be seen. Cave dwelling, they are hiding in a portable cave dwelling. At the thought of this, the three demon monarchs released their powerful soul power to cover the surroundings, searching for Yi Chunfeng and the rest. Don't look for them, we are here. A cold voice was heard. Yi Chunfeng, the divine fiend torch dragon, Xia-patterned butterfly, blood skeleton, Ling Yu, fire Qilin, and Ming Shifang all left the universe realm and appeared on the second floor of the castle. They summoned powerful artifacts that floated above their heads and were ready to launch a fatal attack on the three demon monarchs. Mistress! When Ming Shifang saw the divine ape monarch not far away, he was stunned. Then, he revealed an excited expression and shouted loudly, "Shifang, why are you here?" The divine ape monarch was also stunned and revealed a surprised expression. "Aren't you? I didn't die, Master didn't die either." Ming Shifang said emotionally, "Mistress, this is Ling Yu, your daughter." "Ling Yu, my daughter." The sternness on the divine ape monarch's face instantly disappeared and was replaced by intense excitement. She never dreamed that she would meet her daughter under such circumstances. "Mother!" Ling Yu's eyes were filled with tears as she looked at the charming divine ape monarch in her wind-patterned robe. She was completely stunned. "Divine ape monarch, what the hell are you doing? Hurry up and destroy them." King Qilin didn't expect such an unforeseen event. If the divine ape monarch changed his mind and helped Yi Chunfeng and the rest, it would definitely be a fatal threat to them. I'll kill whoever dares to hurt my daughter." The divine ape monarch revealed his domineering side as he held the black divine rod in his hand and glared at the two demon monarchs. "Peacock King, who are you helping?" King Qilin was so angry that he kept spitting out white streams of air as he looked at the gloomy Peacock King. "Divine ape monarch, I can promise not to hurt your daughter, but he must die. If you help them deal with us, I promise that after we leave, I'll join forces with King Qilin to destroy your forces." Peacock King's eyes flashed with viciousness as he threatened coldly. You'd better think about your own situation first and see if you can leave this place alive." Yi Chunfeng snorted as the primitive embryo of Tao separated from his body and locked onto Peacock King. "Mother, Brother Chunfeng is my savior. Let's join forces and destroy them first." Ling Yu summoned the primitive embryo of Tao and the dimensional sacred weapon as she shouted at the hesitant divine ape monarch. "Alright." The divine ape monarch took a deep look at Yi Chunfeng and felt that he wasn't a simple person. Just the strength that he had displayed was already beyond his imagination. Coupled with the relationship between Ling Yu and Ling Yu, the divine ape monarch instantly made the decision to summon back the ancestral statue. "Alright, divine ape monarch, you forced us to do this. I swear that after we leave this place, I'll destroy the legacy of your divine ape monarch at all costs." Peacock King said viciously. "I'm afraid you won't have the chance to do so." As he said that, the divine ape monarch held the black divine rod in his hand and smashed it towards Peacock King with a terrifying force. Chapter 1732. Roar! Roar! Old Qilin, I'm going to destroy you! Although there was a huge difference in power between the chaotic divine beasts and the King of Qilin, when Yi Chunfeng attacked the King of Qilin, he continued to spit out streaks of chaotic 5 elements light to attack the King of Qilin's body to vent his anger. "Senior, go and help Senior Ape. Leave King Qilin to me." Yi Chunfeng transmitted his voice to Divine Demon Torch Dragon. Okay. Divine Demon Torch Dragon roared and attacked Peacock King with the 8 ferocious battle spear. Originally, Divine Ape and Peacock King were equally matched. However, Divine Demon Torch Dragon, who was more powerful, instantly gave Peacock King great pressure. Peacock King's powerful attack was completely suppressed, and he was forced to retreat. Ancestral Statue, destroy them. Yi Chunfeng's combat strength was too terrifying. King Qilin had no choice but to call back the ancestral statue and use it to launch a fierce counterattack. Equipment controlling Dao, destroy. The ancestral statue attacked with powerful ancestral rhyme. Yi Chunfeng immediately used the equipment controlling Dao and poured it into the immortal wings. He activated the wing's strongest power and launched a fatal attack on the terrifying ancestral statue. The immortal wings were an ancestral treasure refined by the immortal demon ancestor using his own wings. Its power was extremely terrifying. The wings slashed out and directly tore through the space, leaving behind 2 deep grooves. It cut through the attack launched by the ancestral statue and ruthlessly slashed at the statue. Crack! A series of crisp cracking sounds rang out. Facing the strongest attack of the immortal wings, King Qilin's biggest reliance, the ancestral statue, was shattered. This shocking scene stunned everyone present. What? The ancestral statue was shattered? Gosh, how can that person's attack be so terrifying? He actually shattered the ancestral statue with one strike. Witnessing the scene of the ancestral statue being shattered by the immortal wings, everyone present was stunned. They could not believe what had happened. Not only were the Grand Demons stunned, but even King Qilin and Peacock King were dumbfounded. They knew very well how sturdy the ancestral statue was. In order to shatter it, the strongest power of the ancestral artifact had to be unleashed. Could it be that he can unleash the strongest attack of the ancestral artifact? At the thought of this, King Qilin and King Peacock were terrified. If Yi Chunfeng could really unleash his strongest attack, it would be enough to kill them instantly. This is not a good place to stay. His greatest reliance was destroyed by Yi Chunfeng. This made King Qilin want to retreat. He gave up on the treasures here and tried his best to break out of the encirclement. King Qilin, can you escape? With a flap of his wings, Yi Chunfeng appeared right in front of him, as if he had teleported. He threw a punch with a force of nearly 100 billion kilograms, aiming right at his chest. Feeling the power of Yi Chunfeng's punch, King Qilin's expression changed slightly. He instantly fused with the Qilin's blood fat and increased his strength to the limit. He held the red blood sacred axe and charged forward. Suddenly, a blinding beam of red light shot out from Yi Chunfeng's soul sea, bringing with it a stifling force as it slashed down on the scarlet blood sacred axe. The terrifying sword might blocked the attack of the scarlet blood sacred axe. PFFF. Yi Chunfeng's fist, which was filled with 100 billion kilograms of power, also landed on King Qilin's chest in an instant. The terrifying power smashed through his defense and collapsed his chest, sending him flying with a single punch. If King Qilin hadn't fused with the Qilin's blood fat and increased his strength greatly, Yi Chunfeng's punch would have been enough to shatter his body. 8 Qilin Shadows. After experiencing how terrifying Yi Chunfeng was, King Qilin felt even more uneasy. He executed his last means of escape. Instantly, he transformed into 8 shadows and fled in 8 directions. Cosmos Sword Formation / With a thought, Yi Chunfeng's Cosmos Sword Formation shot out from his body and sealed the space, not giving King Qilin a chance to escape. However, King Qilin was extremely powerful. The 8 Qilin shadows that he transformed into were not much weaker than his original body. As he tried his best to escape, he broke through the Cosmos Sword Formation that sealed the space. Where is his original body? At the moment when the 8 Qilin shadows broke through the Cosmos Sword Formation, the God-Eater brain, which was deducing rapidly, locked onto King Qilin's original body. Yi Chunfeng instantly fused with the demon's sealing sword and thrust out the soulless sword. With a speed that was several times faster than his, the soulless sword pierced into King Qilin's body. Bam! At the moment when Yi Chunfeng's soulless sword pierced into King Qilin's body, an extremely powerful life-saving talisman suddenly broke, blocking the soulless sword's fatal strike. When Yi Chunfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Wood to continue the attack, King Qilin, who was burning his demon core, flew out of the exit and escaped to the first floor of the castle. King Qilin's escape made Peacock King and the other demons panic. They gave up on fighting the Ape God King, Divine Demon Candle Dragon, Xia Wendi, and the rest and tried their best to break out of the encirclement. However, Yi Chunfeng and the primitive embryo of Tao sealed the exit directly. One by one, the demons that rushed in were killed by them. 5 Elements Mountain, open for me. Peacock King summoned the superior grade sacred artifact 5 Elements Mountain and spat out blood essence into the 5 Elements Mountain. He activated the strongest power of the 5 Elements Mountain and attacked Yi Chunfeng. Bam! Just as the 5 Elements Mountain was about to crash into Yi Chunfeng's body, the Chaos Divine Wood descended from the sky. Its 5-colored treetops swayed and lashed at the 5 Elements Mountain, sending the superior grade sacred artifact 5 Elements Mountain flying. Then, the immortal wings flapped violently and formed 2 unparalleled wing slashes that slashed at Peacock King at an astonishing speed. Peacock King screamed in agony as his arms were chopped off by the 2 wing slashes. A large amount of blood spurted out from his severed arms. He was in so much pain that his face turned pale as he screamed in agony. TSK. When Peacock King was severely injured, the Divine Demon Candle Dragon stabbed him with the 8 ferocious battle spear. The terrifying spear radiance pierced through his body and almost destroyed his physical body. Wait, you can't kill me. If you kill me, the Phoenix Clan leader will not let you off. With his life hanging by a thread, Peacock King no longer had the arrogance from before. He brought out his background to pressure Yi Chunfeng and the others, seeking hope for survival. Peacock King, now that the demon race is in chaos, do you think the Phoenix Clan leader still has the time to care about your life? The Divine Ape King stared at him with his blood-red eyes and said coldly, "Although the demon race in the Void God realm is in chaos, I think you should be clear about the Phoenix Clan leader's strength. Other than the Dragon Emperor, no one is her opponent. Once the Phoenix Clan leader has settled the internal strife of the demon race, she will pay attention to the demon region. When she finds out that I was killed, don't you think she will be furious?" Peacock King said patiently, "If you want me to spare your life, I can, but you must submit to me." Yi Chunfeng had already indirectly become enemies with the Golden Rock martial ancestor, and did not want to fight to the death with the Phoenix Clan leader. If he could subdue the Peacock King, he might have the chance to contact the Phoenix Clan leader through the Peacock King, cooperate with her, and borrow her power to eliminate the mastermind of the Tian clan. Impossible, I am a person of the Phoenix Clan leader. Other than her, I will not submit to anyone. Peacock King refused without hesitation. This is not up to you. With that, the 4 sacred level Tao diagrams appeared on Yi Chunfeng's body, suppressing the heavily injured Peacock King and keeping him into the universe realm. Chapter 1733. Peacock King, don't be unconvinced. You are lucky to be able to follow me. I will only make you serve me for 10,000 years. After 10,000 years, I will return you your freedom. Yi Chunfeng said indifferently as he looked at the sullen Peacock King, whose mind was controlled by Soul Devourer. Really? You're not lying to me? Peacock King widened his eyes and looked at Yi Chunfeng in surprise. What do you think I'm lying to you? Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, "Maybe after 10,000 years, you won't leave even if I chase you away. Alright, let's go out." After that, Yi Chunfeng and the severely injured Peacock King left the universe realm and appeared outside. At this moment, The spiritual fish had already recognized the ape divine king and was crying in his arms. Young Master Yi, thank you for helping the spiritual fish tribe so much. I will never forget your kindness. The red-eyed ape divine king said gratefully. Ape God, you're too polite. It's fate that I met spiritual fish. Yi Chenfeng smiled and said, That's right, ape divine king. Back then, when something happened to the Lord of the Dark North, with your strength and status, why didn't you help? If you were willing to help, perhaps such a thing wouldn't have happened. Sigh, how could I not want to help when Dark North was in trouble? But at that time, my ape divine clan was in the most chaotic period. If I left the demon region without permission, I would most likely be killed. The ape divine king sighed softly as he recounted his situation. Ape God, is the ape God bloodline stable now? Yi Chenfeng continued to ask. Right now, the ape God bloodline is basically under my control. However, there is still an old antique hidden in my bloodline. He comes from the ape God clan in the void god realm. Ape God said without hiding anything. Ape God, how is your relationship with that old antique? Yi Chenfeng knew that the various clans in the demon region had hidden some trump cards that no one knew about. Those trump cards would not be used unless it was absolutely necessary. Our relationship is not bad. It's all thanks to him that I can become the demon king. Ape God said. Then other than the divine ape bloodline, is it the Qilin bloodline? The peacock bloodline also has an old antique overseeing it. Yi Chenfeng said. Yes, my peacock lineage has a 6-star Yao celestial old antique. As far as I know, the Qilin lineage has a quasi-ancestor old antique. The peacock king added. Half-ancestor level antique. Yi Chenfeng frowned slightly. With his current strength, he could defeat an ordinary 4-star demon god, but he was absolutely no match for a half-martial ancestor-level old antique. Peacock King, can you persuade your peacock lineage's old fogies to help me deal with the Qilin lineage's quasi-ancestor rank old fogies? Yi Chenfeng pondered for a moment before asking. No. The Peacock King shook his head and said, The old antiques of my peacock bloodline also came from the void god world. They are not under my control at all. Moreover, the gap between a 6-star demon god and a half-martial ancestor demon god is extremely large. 4 or 5 6-star demon gods would not be able to defeat a half-martial ancestor demon god. Looks like wanting to exterminate the Qilin lineage still needs to be considered at length. Yi Chenfeng muttered to himself. Young Master Yi, how should we deal with them? Looking at the Qilin king's subordinates who had retreated in time, Bloodskull asked. Kill, leave no one alive. Yi Chenfeng showed no mercy to his enemies and said coldly. Following Yi Chenfeng's order, dozens of Qilin lineage's great demons were annihilated. Under the bloody attacks of the divine fiend Torch Dragon and the primitive embryo of Tao, dozens of Qilin lineage's great demons died in a pool of blood. The demon cores in their bodies were all devoured by the Chaos Divine Beast, Golden Clear Dragon Blood Lion, and the blood essence in their hearts was absorbed by the Space Swallower. Alright, everyone rest here. When everyone is in their best condition, we will enter the 3rd floor of the castle. After saying that, Yi Chenfeng and the rest sat cross-legged in the castle that was filled with a thick smell of blood. They quickly healed their injuries and healed their bodies. About 3 days later, other than the Peacock King who was severely injured, the others had all recovered from their injuries. They followed Yi Chenfeng and broke through an extremely powerful restriction. They entered the 3rd floor of the castle and saw another extremely powerful ancestral formation. There were 10 great treasures sealed in the ancestral formation. 2 of them were the 2 chaos stones that were crucial to Yi Chenfeng and a powerful spear. The remaining 7 treasures were all high-grade and extremely precious elixirs. God-Eater Brain, break the formation! Yi Chenfeng walked to the ancestral formation and sat cross-legged. He controlled the God-Eater Brain to quickly deduce, trying to find an opportunity to break the ancestral formation. Compared to the ancestral formation that sealed the demon bird royal flag and the undying wings, the ancestral formation that sealed the 10 great treasures had limited power. In addition, Yi Chen-feng was familiar with some of the immortal demonic progenitors' formation technique. After spending nearly 3 days, he found an opportunity to break the formation. With the combined strength of everyone, he forcibly broke the ancestral formation and obtained the sealed treasures. Ancestral elixirs. These 7 elixirs are all ancestral elixirs. As the divine ape king was grateful to Yi Chen-feng, as long as one of the ancestral elixirs was taken away, the rest were taken away by Yi Chen-feng. Yi Chen-feng was not stingy. He gave the divine ape torch dragon, peacock king, chaos divine beast, golden dragon, and blood lion each an ancestral elixir so that they could improve their strength as soon as possible. Mo Ling, with these 2 chaos stones, can you restore the demon sealing sword to the level of an ancestral artifact? Yi Chen-feng put away the 2 chaos stones and sent a voice transmission to Mo Ling. Kid, are you really treating me as a laborer? Mo Ling said unhappily. Demon spirit, helping me is equivalent to helping yourself. Only when my strength increases will I be able to obtain a perfect demon body for you and allow you to be reborn in this world. Yi Chen-feng smiled as he patiently guided the demon spirit. Sigh, I hope you didn't lie to me. Otherwise, I won't let you go. The demon spirit grumbled a little, but he still obediently refined the chaos stone. He carved extremely powerful ancestral marks into the demon sealing sword, increasing its grade. Let's go to the last floor. The most precious inheritance of the immortal demon ancestor should be there. After saying that, Yi Chen-feng led the group and the demonic beast to the highest floor of the castle and entered it. They saw a black sarcophagus shrouded in powerful restrictions. Although the black sarcophagus was shrouded in restrictions and did not emit any aura, everyone could clearly feel the terror of this black sarcophagus. The sarcophagus should contain the remains of the immortal demon ancestor. Peacock King said with mixed feelings as he looked at the black sarcophagus in awe. That's right. The black sarcophagus should contain the remains of the immortal demon ancestor. Yi Chen-feng nodded and said, Wait for me here. I'll go take a look. After saying that, the daring Yi Chen-feng brought the primitive embryo of Tao and slowly walked toward the black sarcophagus. When he was 3 meters away from the black sarcophagus, his expression changed slightly. He suddenly stopped in his tracks with a solemn look on his face. What's wrong, Chen-feng? Is that black sarcophagus dangerous? Xia Wendy was very familiar with Yi Chen-feng. Looking at his expression, she could not help but feel nervous and asked. It's dangerous. However, it's not from the black sarcophagus. It's from this restriction. Yi Chen-feng nodded and summoned his sacred sword soul. He slashed at the restriction that shrouded the black sarcophagus. Buzz, buzz, buzz. When the sacred sword soul, which was like a red waterfall, slashed at the powerful restriction, sharp old roots that were as thick as a child's arm drilled out of the restriction and pierced towards Yi Chen-feng at an extremely fast speed. As expected, the old roots of the death ghost tree are hidden here. Chapter 1734. Chaos Divine Wood Break. Yi Chen-feng immediately summoned the Chaos Divine Wood when he saw dozens of death ghost trees' old roots attacking him. He used the Chaos Divine Wood's power to crush the death ghost tree's old root. Damn it, are you trying to kill us all? When the Chaos Divine Wood destroyed the death ghost tree's old roots, a furious roar was heard. An old face appeared in the restriction shrouding the black sarcophagus. This face was exactly the same as the face that appeared on the death ghost tree. I've already destroyed your original body. There's no need for the old roots to remain in this world. As he spoke, Yi Chen-feng controlled the Chaos Divine Wood and the Sacred Sword Soul to attack the restriction shrouding the black sarcophagus. After a series of fierce attacks, the terrifying restriction was broken, revealing the black sarcophagus. Unlike what they saw from the outside, The black sarcophagus had thousands of python-like old roots coiling around its surface. Many of the old roots had broken into the sarcophagus. Chaos divine would devour. Looking at the thousands of old roots of the death ghost tree, Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the primal chaos divine wood to fly over. Tens of thousands of five-colored roots dropped down and took root in the old roots of the death ghost tree, madly devouring the spirituality of the old root. Despicable human, I'll take your life. After being devoured by the chaos divine wood, the old roots of the death ghost tree let out a furious roar. They twisted rapidly like long snakes and attacked Yi Chunfeng and the others, trying to kill them. Undying wings, sacred sword soul, destroy. A large number of old death roots attacked. Yi Chunfeng instantly raised his strength to the limit, controlling one powerful treasure after another to receive the attacks with all his might. The divine demon torch dragon, primitive embryo of Tao, Peacock King, and the others also unleashed powerful attacks. They ferociously attacked the old roots of the death ghost tree, destroying it continuously. Enduring the indiscriminate attacks, the old roots of the death ghost tree continued to crack. The five-colored roots extended from the chaos divine wood broke into the old roots and devoured them frantically. Soon, the old roots of the death ghost tree coiling around the black sarcophagus were all devoured by the chaos divine wood, revealing the black sarcophagus. What a profound Tao pattern! Looking at the winding Tao patterns carved on the surface of the black stone coffin, Yi Chunfeng and the others were deeply shocked. They had never seen such profound Tao patterns before. However, under the erosion of the old roots of death for countless years, many of the mysterious Tao patterns were still broken. Many of the old roots even broke into the extremely hard black stone coffin and directly attacked the body of the immortal demon forefather, finally killing him. Ancestral fiend, we have no intention of taking the risk. We just don't want your inheritance to disappear just like that. Ancestral fiend, please grant us a great opportunity. The divine ape king and peacock king knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times to the black sarcophagus. After kowtowing, the 2 monster kings stood up and slowly walked towards the black sarcophagus. They wanted to work together to open the sarcophagus. Yi Chunfeng stood to the side in silence. He didn't stop the 2 demonic monarchs. He really wanted to know if the 2 demonic monarchs could open the stone coffin lid. When they reached the black sarcophagus, the 2 demon kings knelt down and kowtowed 3 times. Then, they slowly stood up and grabbed the lid of the sarcophagus with all their might, wanting to open the sarcophagus together. Waves of powerful energy permeated the 2 demonic monarchs' bodies. The 2 demonic monarchs raised their strength to the extreme, causing the surrounding air to churn violently. However, they still couldn't open the sarcophagus. After bitterly trying for more than 10 times, the 2 demonic monarchs finally gave up. The corpse coffin left behind by the immortal demon forefather definitely wouldn't let others see his skeleton so easily. I think that only by gaining his approval can we open the corpse coffin. Yi Chunfeng said slowly, why don't the 2 of you try using your blood to see if you can gain the approval of the immortal demon forefather? Alright. The Peacock King and Divine Ape King nodded. They bit their fingers and tapped on the black sarcophagus. Their blood continuously seeped into the sarcophagus. Buzz, buzz, buzz. After fusing with the 2's blood essence, there was a weak energy fluctuation in the black sarcophagus. However, in the blink of an eye, this weak energy disappeared. Sigh, it seems like our bloodline can't gain the approval of the immortal demon forefather. After failing to drip their blood, the 2 demonic monarchs sighed and retreated regretfully. I'll try. The god-fiend torch dragon, who was tall and sturdy like a moving mountain, exuded a fearless aura. His voice was as loud as a muffled drum. He slowly walked to the side of the black sarcophagus and dripped a large amount of precious godfiend blood into the sarcophagus. After fusing with the godfiend blood, the energy fluctuation in the black sarcophagus became more obvious. However, after more than 10 breaths, the energy fluctuation in the black sarcophagus disappeared. Clearly, the godfiend torch dragon couldn't gain the approval of the black sarcophagus and couldn't open the lid. The godfiend torch dragon's attempt failed. The spiritual fish and the chaos divine beast tried one after another, but all of them failed. "Let me try." After everyone's attempts failed, Yi Chunfeng slowly walked to the side of the black sarcophagus. He bit his finger and seeped the primordial blood into the black sarcophagus. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The primordial blood was the number one bloodline in the universe. After fusing with the primordial blood, the black sarcophagus suddenly emitted endless black light, stealing all the light in the surroundings. In the next moment, the black light spewing out of the black sarcophagus rapidly gathered in the void. It was like an endless stream of information that crazily fused into Yi Chunfeng's body. Big Brother Ching Feng. Seeing Yi Chunfeng being engulfed by the black light, the spiritual fish and the rest instantly tensed up. "Don't go over. Such attacks can't threaten Ching Feng." The godfiend torch dragon stood in front of everyone and said in a deep voice. Suddenly, dazzling 5 colors divine light broke through the black light. The majestic chaos divine wood emerged from Yi Chunfeng's body and swayed above his head. It released the chaos 5 elements light to neutralize the attack of the black light. Under the attack of the chaos divine wood, the power of the black light spewing out from the black sarcophagus decreased sharply. It couldn't threaten Yi Chunfeng, who had the protection of the undying wings. Buzz! Just as the chaos divine wood and the black light spewing out from the black sarcophagus were fighting fiercely, the black light spewing out from the black sarcophagus gathered rapidly and turned into an invincible black sword slash. It split the space in half and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng with invincible might. However, under the protection of the chaos divine wood, the black sword slash shattered before it could reach Yi Chunfeng. After the black sword slash, the black sarcophagus transformed into more black sword slashes and attacked Yi Chunfeng ferociously. When the chaos divine wood blocked the attacks of the 14 black sword slashes, it was forcefully pushed back, exposing Yi Chunfeng's body to the black sarcophagus. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this moment, another 3 powerful black sword slashes broke out from the black sarcophagus and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng at lightning speed. Amulet break. At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng crushed the last amulet given to him by the undying bird shadow. It formed a strong defense in front of him and neutralized the attacks of the 3 black sword slashes. Chaos divine wood suppress. After the 3 black sword slashes were shattered, Yi Chunfeng controlled the chaos divine wood to descend from the sky and suppress the black sarcophagus. It formed tens of thousands of 5-colored roots that wrapped around the black sarcophagus and neutralized the death aura in the black sarcophagus. About an hour later, the death aura in the black sarcophagus was completely devoured by the chaos divine wood. Chapter 1735. Starry Sky. Through the open coffin lid, Yi Chunfeng did not see the skeleton of the immortal demon ancestor. Instead, he saw a black starry sky. After hesitating for a moment, Yi Chunfeng kept the chaotic divine wood and flew into the starry sky inside the stone coffin, disappearing before everyone's eyes. Then, the coffin lid closed again, and the entire space returned to normal. Ching Feng. Seeing Yi Chunfeng being swallowed by the black stone coffin, Xia Wendy and the rest felt their hearts tighten as they spoke nervously. "Don't worry. If I'm not wrong, Ching Feng should have been recognized by the immortal demon ancestor. He is qualified to enter the stone coffin to see the skeleton of the immortal demon ancestor and obtain the most precious inheritance treasure he left behind." The divine ape king said. "Yes, I didn't expect the inheritance of the immortal demon ancestor to fall into the hands of a human." The peacock king shook his head and said, "Let's go. There should be more than one opportunity here. Let's go to other places to try our luck. Perhaps there will be unexpected gains." Okay. Everyone left the primitive Tao fetus outside the stone coffin to guard it. They broke through the layers of restrictions and walked into the long and narrow corridors to look for other opportunities left behind by the immortal demon ancestor. Chaotic divine wood, primordial blood. I didn't expect these two treasures to appear on the same person. Even I am a little envious of your opportunities. Yi Chunfeng's eyes flashed with white light. He found himself under a huge but severely damaged ancient tomb. A majestic face appeared on the stone tablet in front of the ancient tomb and looked at Yi Chunfeng. Junior greets the immortal demon ancestor. Looking at the stone tablet that was dozens of feet tall, he bowed deeply 3 times and said respectfully, "Junior, I will give you a chance now. If you can pass my test, I will give you my most precious immortal inheritance and the life and death plate that I obtained on the ancient path of the starry sky. But if you fail, you will lose everything, including your life." The immortal demon ancestor said, "I wonder if you are willing to accept my test?" "I am willing," Yi Chunfeng said without hesitation. "Don't worry, I won't bully you. I will suppress my strength to the same level as yours. As long as you can defeat me, you will pass my test," the immortal demon ancestor said. "Senior wants to see the power of the primordial bloodline and the chaos divine wood, right?" Yi Chunfeng did not feel any killing intent from the immortal demon ancestor, and guessed his intentions. "You're smart. I really want to see the power of the number 1 godly blood and the number 1 godly wood in the universe." The immortal demonic progenitor nodded and said, "All right, get ready. You can take the test at any time. There's no need to prepare. We can begin now," Yi Chunfeng said arrogantly without summoning the demon sealing sword. Okay. Be careful." As he spoke, the towering stone tablet emitted a blinding light. A black figure shot out from the stone tablet and transformed into a black divine bird. It attacked Yi Chunfeng like a bolt of lightning. Primordial bloodline, ignite. The immortal demonic progenitor transformed into an undying bird and attacked. Yi Chunfeng decisively ignited his primordial bloodline and forcefully raised his strength to a 1-star Tao god. He also amplified his strength by 3 times and waved his fist to meet the attack. With a punch, the air in front of him fluctuated violently. The terrifying fist light dragged a long tail of power and bombarded the undying bird with astonishing power. Rumble! The 2 powerful forces collided, causing the entire space to tremble violently. What great strength! The primordial bloodline is indeed extraordinary. Sensing that Yi Chunfeng's strength was comparable to a high-grade ancestor beast, the immortal demonic progenitor's eyes lit up. He flapped his black wings and increased his speed to the limit. He transformed into illusory afterimages in mid-air and attacked Yi Chunfeng with astonishing speed. Facing the unpredictable speed of the immortal demonic progenitor's attack, Yi Chunfeng closed his eyes and controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce the trajectory of his attack. He blasted out terrifying fist light to meet the attack with all his strength. The man and the bird fought fiercely for half an hour. No one could do anything to the other. Screech! The undying bird let out a long cry and suddenly transformed into its strongest combat form. It carried an astonishing demonic aura and attacked Yi Chunfeng. Saint-level sword soul slash. The immortal demonic progenitor attacked. The saint-level sword soul flew out of Yi Chunfeng's soul sea and transformed into a blood-red sword light in midair. It slashed toward the immortal demonic progenitor. Saint-level sword soul. I didn't expect you to cultivate a saint-level sword soul at your age. The immortal demonic progenitor was surprised to face the saint-level sword soul's attack head-on. However, his combat form's attack power was astonishing. He easily blocked the saint-level sword soul's attack. He interweaved his wings and slashed toward Yi Chunfeng. Limitless chaos. The overwhelming wings attacked. The 4 saint-level Tao diagrams appeared on Yi Chunfeng's body. He deduced the Tao to the extreme and transformed into a majestic chaotic divine wood. He evolved the limitless Great Tao to meet the attack. Boom, boom, boom. When the two supernatural powers collided, there was an earth-shattering explosion. The terrifying limitless Great Tao directly tore through the wings and attacked the immortal demonic progenitor. Under the attack of the limitless chaos, cracks appeared on the body of the immortal demonic progenitor, and his body even showed a trace of loss of control. Godless Sword. Yi Chunfeng summoned the saint-level sword soul. Holding the saint-level sword soul in his hand, he stabbed out with a sword that stole the brilliance of heaven and earth. When the sword stabbed out, the void suddenly turned pitch black. The terrifying sword light was like a meteor that cut through the night. It pierced the body of the immortal demonic progenitor and directly pierced through his body. Chaotic divine wood, break for me. Then, Yi Chunfeng summoned the chaotic divine wood and ruthlessly whipped the body of the immortal demonic progenitor. The terrifying attack directly smashed his body into pieces. Undying divine ability. Just as Yi Chunfeng was still thinking that he had won, the immortal demonic progenitor used the undying divine ability and instantly recovered from his injuries. Not bad, not bad. With the primordial blood and the chaotic divine wood, you are almost invincible in the same realm. The immortal demonic progenitor, who had recovered, nodded and said, Junior, you have won this battle. However, do you dare to take my strongest move? If you can, I will give you another treasure. Okay. Yi Chunfeng nodded and summoned the demon sealing sword that had more than 500 ancestral marks and was close to reaching the power of an ancestral artifact. Be careful. Looking at the demon sealing sword in Yi Chunfeng's hand, the immortal demonic progenitor's eyes lit up. A wave of Tao will power that made Yi Chunfeng suffocate burst out from his body. When he deduced his own Tao insight to the limit, it transformed into a lifelike deathless bird. As its wings flapped, it shattered layer upon layer of space, and its terrifying strength seemed as if it was capable of destroying this expanse of the heavens and the earth. Screech! The immortal bird let out a long cry. The immortal ancestral power wreaked havoc in the entire space, causing Yi Chunfeng's heart to tremble. In the face of this invincible attack from the immortal demonic progenitor, Yi Chunfeng raised his strength to the extreme. He deduced the Tao will to the greatest extent and used the way of equipment manipulation to increase the attack power of the demon sealing sword to the extreme. Infinite chaos. As the sword pierced out, the chaotic divine wood appeared on his body and raised his combat power to the greatest extent. It turned into the infinite great Tao and faced the immortal bird. Boom, boom, boom. The two attacks collided and instantly shattered the space within a few miles. The terrifying energy torrent poured down like a waterfall, destroying the entire world. Poof, poof, poof. Although Yi Chunfeng had the immortal wings to protect his body, he was still injured by the raging power. His body, which was comparable to a low-grade transcendent sacred artifact, kept shattering. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. Spiritual Pearl of Life, repair. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng's body was destroyed, he kept controlling the Spiritual Pearl of Life to drop the power of life to repair his body. He used the chaotic divine wood and the immortal wings to defend himself and make a final resistance. Chapter 1736. Not bad, not bad. You are really not bad. With your strength, you actually blocked my invincible attack. I will now fulfill my promise and give you my 3 most precious treasures. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who had blocked his invincible attack, the immortal demon ancestor revealed a satisfied expression and summoned his 3 most precious treasures in this world. Senior, this pearl is. Looking at the 3 treasures summoned by the immortal demon ancestor, they were a black and white millstone, an ancient scroll, and a pearl. Yi Chunfeng guessed the origin of the first 2 treasures, but Yi Chunfeng did not know the origin of the last treasure. This pearl is the source of my power, the sacred nucleus. Although the power contained in it was almost consumed by the death ghost tree, if you can refine it, it is enough for you to be reborn. The immortal demon ancestor said, "This is also an additional reward for you." "Thank you, Senior." Knowing that the pearl in front of him was the sacred nucleus of the immortal demon ancestor, Yi Chunfeng's eyes suddenly lit up. If he could refine it, not only could he easily break through to the Tao God realm, but he also had the opportunity to understand the Tao of the immortal demon ancestor. "Junior, my inheritance can only be passed to you, so you can only refine the sacred nucleus of the immortal demon ancestor here." The immortal demon ancestor said, "Senior, then can you tell my friends? I am afraid that they will be worried about my safety." Yi Chunfeng requested, "Don't worry, I will tell them. And there is more than one opportunity in this castle. I think they can find their own opportunities," the immortal demon ancestor said. "Thank you, Senior." Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and removed all distracting thoughts. He took the sacred nucleus in his hand, cut his chest, and pressed the sacred nucleus directly on the wound on his chest. He then activated the soul-devouring skill to refine it. When Yi Chunfeng was refining the sacred nucleus, he controlled the soul-devouring brain to deduce quickly and penetrate into the ancient scroll to understand the immortal magic cultivation method recorded in the ancient scroll. Soon, a year passed. One-star Tao God breakthrough. After a year of refining, Yi Chunfeng had refined 1/5 of the Saint Core's power and deepened his comprehension of the Tao insight. He had broken through to the one-star Tao God realm in one go. After breaking through to the one-star Tao God realm, Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to continue refining the Saint Core. He had a feeling that if he completely refined the immortal demon progenitor's Saint Core, he might be able to break through to the two-star Tao God realm. At that time, with his powerful trump card and ancestral artifact, he would have a chance to fight against the Qilin lineage's half-ancestor demon immortal. While Yi Chunfeng was refining the saint nucleus in the mysterious space, comprehending the undying divine ability, and refining the life and death plate, Xia Dai, Ling Yu, Zhu Long, and the others also found their own opportunities in the undying inheritance. They quickly refined them and increased their strength. Roar, roar, high-level ancestral beast breakthrough. After refining the undying land of inheritance's fortuitous encounter, the Chaos Divine Beast broke through in one go and became a high-grade ancestor beast, comparable to a one-star beast god. Not long after the Chaos Divine Beast broke through to the high-grade ancestor beast, Jin Qing Dragon Bloodlion and the Space Swallower also broke through to the high-grade ancestor beast after refining the undying inheritance. After a few more months, Ling Yu, Black Rock Emperor, and the others broke through to the 4-star Tao Emperor realm. Xia Dai, Zhu Long, Blood Skull, Divine Ape King, and Peacock King also reached the limit of their cultivation realm and were only one step away from the final breakthrough. Just as Yi Chunfeng and the others were refining the undying inheritance and increasing their strength, King Qilin, who had escaped from the undying inheritance, returned to his clan and told the half-ancestor demon immortal about the undying inheritance. "Are you sure that you found the undying demon progenitor's inheritance?" A figure shrouded in black light suddenly opened his tightly shut eyes and stared at King Qilin with 2 rays of sharp light. He said in a deep voice, "Yes, that place is undoubtedly the undying demon progenitor's inheritance. We found the demon bird royal flag and undying wings of the undying demon progenitor there. However, those 2 treasures were taken away by a human." King Qilin nodded and said, "I didn't expect the undying demon progenitor to die in the demon region." The half-ancestor demon immortal's eyes were filled with greed as he said, "Bring me to the undying demon progenitor's inheritance. I want to see who is so bold to snatch the demon progenitor's items." "Yes." King Qilin revealed a trace of coldness as he brought the half-ancestor demon immortal out of the clan and flew towards the undying demon progenitor's inheritance. "Yes, the inheritance is closed." When King Qilin and the half-ancestor demon immortal arrived at the undying inheritance hidden in the Green Mountain, they realized that the inheritance's entrance was closed. No matter how hard they searched, they couldn't find the entrance. Damn it, how did this happen? King Qilin was furious that he couldn't enter the inheritance. King Qilin, quickly gather the experts and seal off this mountain range. Wait for them to come out. The half-ancestor demon immortal, who was shrouded in a black robe, ordered as his eyes flickered with ferocity. Yes, demon progenitor. King Qilin obeyed and immediately gathered a large number of experts from the Qilin lineage. They sealed off the entire mountain range and waited patiently. Time flew by and soon more than a year had passed. After more than a year of refining, Yi Qinfeng had refined 4/5 of the sacred nucleus and forcefully raised his strength to the peak of 1-star Tao God realm. He had faintly touched the bottleneck of the realm. However, he had just broken through to 1-star Tao God realm not long ago. If he wanted to successfully break through to 2-star Tao God realm, he would need an extremely large amount of energy. He pondered for a moment and took out an extremely precious ancestor elixir and swallowed it. He endured the strong medicinal power released by the ancestor elixir and the power of the sacred nucleus and started to break through to 2-star Tao God realm. When Yi Qinfeng was trying to break through to the 2-star Tao God realm, the God-fiend Torch Dragon, whose entire body was soaked in a milky white pond, suddenly opened its eyes. It opened its bloody mouth and swallowed the entire pond of milky white liquid. 5-star Tao God realm break. The well-prepared God-fiend Torch Dragon roared. He broke through the bottleneck of the realm with the help of the immortal spirit elixir and attained the 5-star Tao God realm. Moreover, his strength was 150 billion kilograms, and it was sufficient to crush an ordinary 6-star deity realm expert. Not long after the God-fiend Torch Dragon broke through, the Ape God King and Peacock King, who had reached the limit of their realm a long time ago, had both broken through to the 4-star Demon God realm and greatly improved their strength. Spirit Fish, what fortuitous encounter did you obtain here? You actually broke through to the 6-star Tao Lord realm. After breaking through to the 4-star Demon God realm, the Ape God King immediately came out of seclusion and noticed the Spirit Fish, who had been waiting on the 4th level for a long time. She held back when she saw the Spirit Fish because she was shocked to notice that the Spirit Fish had actually broken through to the 6-star Tao Lord realm in just a few years. I found a spirit mushroom here that has been around for 10 million years. I've made successive breakthroughs with the help of the spirit mushroom's spirituality. The spirit fish, who had grown taller and more beautiful, revealed a happy smile. Spirit mushroom, as expected of the inheritance left behind by the undying demon ancestor. The fortuitous encounters within it really are shocking. The Ape God King revealed a charming smile, and she was sincerely happy for the spirit fish. Along with the passage of time, everyone who'd obtained great fortuitous encounters within the undying inheritance had left their closed-door cultivation successively, and they'd arrived at the hall on the 4th level to wait for Yi Qinfeng. However, after waiting for almost 2 years, Yi Qinfeng still hadn't shown himself, and this caused Xia Wendy and the others who'd cultivated to the limit of the 6-star Tao Lord realm to be unable to help but feel worried. They were worried that Yi Qinfeng had encountered a mishap. However, they were unable to open the black stone coffin, and they could only wait anxiously outside. After another year passed, the black stone coffin suddenly emanated boundless black light, and it alarmed Xia Wendy and the others who'd been waiting for a long time. After that, the tightly shut coffin lid opened. When they saw the figure that walked out from the black stone coffin, their hearts finally relaxed. Chapter 1737. 2-star Tao God. Everyone was stunned when they sensed the realm of Yi Qinfeng, who had walked out of the black stone coffin. They revealed shocked and envious expressions. Breaking through to the Tao God realm required a long period of accumulation for every breakthrough. However, Yi Qinfeng was actually able to break through from a 6-star Tao Lord to a 2-star Tao God in just a few years. It was enough to show his gains in the depths of the undying land of inheritance. It seems that everyone has gained a lot in the undying land of inheritance. Let's go. Let's leave this place. Don't let the people outside wait too long. Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile when he saw that Xia Wendi and the others' strength had increased tremendously. Young Master Yi, you're saying that the people from the Qilin bloodline might have sealed off the outside and are waiting for us to leave? Peacock King, who was wearing a dark golden robe and emitting a strong demonic aura, said. If it were you, would you give up on the inheritance of the undying demon ancestor? Yi Chunfeng smiled and said. No. I would do whatever it takes to snatch the inheritance of the undying demon ancestor. Peacock King shook his head and said. Therefore, the outside of the land of inheritance must have been sealed off by the people from the Qilin bloodline. Their greatest reliance, the quasi-demon ancestor, should be here as well. Yi Chunfeng said without hesitation, All right, everyone get ready to fight with me. After he finished speaking, Yi Chunfeng led everyone to the space teleportation array that the undying demon ancestor had told him about. They left the land of inheritance through the space teleportation array and appeared outside. What a strong spatial fluctuation. Someone is coming out. King Qilin and the others, who had sealed off the Green Mountain and waited for several years, suddenly felt a strong spatial fluctuation in the depths of the Green Mountain. They all sped up and rushed over. You're finally out. Looking at Yi Chunfeng and the rest walking out of the black hole, King Qilin's deep eyes revealed a sinister look as he said in a sinister voice. Are you waiting for too long? Yi Chunfeng looked at the ferocious King Qilin and said with a smile, Shouldn't you thank me for letting you live for a few more years? Human brat, don't think that you are invincible just because you have obtained the inheritance of the immortal demon ancestor. This is the world of the demon clan. It is useless even if you have 3 heads and 6 arms. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng had broken through to the 2-star Dao God realm in just a few years, King Qilin guessed that he had obtained the inheritance of the immortal demon ancestor. The demon domain is the world of the demon clan, not the world of the Qilin. King Qilin, aren't you thinking too highly of yourself? Peacock King snorted coldly as he stood beside Yi Chunfeng. Peacock King, I'm really disappointed in you. I didn't expect that the arrogant you would submit to a human. You don't deserve to be the king of the demon realm. King Qilin said disdainfully. King Qilin, from your tone, do you think that you're going to defeat us? Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly and said with a hint of coldness. That's right, this will be your burial ground. King Qilin said domineeringly. Just as he finished his words, he suddenly realized that Yi Chunfeng had disappeared before his eyes. His heart tightened and he instinctively wanted to dodge. However, at the moment when he dodged, Yi Chunfeng's palm, which had a time flow that was 10 times faster than normal, slapped him hard on the cheek. The slap sent him flying and a large amount of blood flowed out from his mouth along with his broken teeth. Humph, you can't even dodge a slap from me. How are you going to kill me? Yi Chunfeng looked at King Qilin, who was lying on the ground with blood flowing out of his mouth, and sneered without holding back. Human Junior, you're too arrogant. Suddenly, a deep voice was heard. A demi-ancestor demon celestial, who was shrouded in a black robe and whose appearance couldn't be seen clearly, walked over with even steps. Although his walking speed wasn't fast, he could cross a few hundred meters with every step he took. His comprehension of the space Tao will had reached an extremely terrifying level. A demi-ancestor demon celestial from the Qilin lineage. Looking at the man shrouded in a black robe, the Ape God King and Peacock King's faces changed drastically and revealed a solemn expression. On the other hand, the God-fiend Torch Dragon's body erupted with a monstrous aura. Obviously, he, who had broken through to the 5-star Dao God realm, was eager to fight with a demi-ancestor demon celestial to test his combat strength. God-fiend, I didn't expect you to have a God-fiend protecting you. Looks like your identity isn't simple. Looking at the God-fiend Torch Dragon, who had a monstrous aura and was like a mountain, 2 sharp rays of light shot out from the black robe. Junior, I can give you a chance to live. Hand over the 3 treasures of the immortal demon ancestor, and I'll let you go. You talk too much nonsense. If you want the 3 treasures of the demon clan, you'll have to exchange it with your life. Yi Chunfeng summoned the demon sealing sword with his mind and replied domineeringly. Ancestral artifact. Looking at the demon sealing sword in Yi Chunfeng's hand, the demi-ancestor demon Celestial's eyes revealed an even more intense burning gaze as he spoke greedily. Senior, let's work together and kill this demi-ancestor demon Celestial. Although Yi Chunfeng had obtained the inheritance of the immortal demon ancestor and had broken through to the 2-star Tao God realm, he didn't dare to be careless in the face of a demi-ancestor demon Celestial. He summoned the primitive Tao fetus and transmitted his voice to the Godfiend Torch Dragon. All right. The Godfiend Torch Dragon nodded. With the 8 ferocious war spear in his hand and the heaven wheel floating above his head, he locked onto the demi-ancestor demon Celestial. Looks like I can get a lot of good stuff after killing you, the demi-ancestor demon Celestial said coldly. Since you guys are courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. As he spoke, the demi-ancestor demon Celestial summoned a huge war saber. The saber hilt was embedded with several gems, and the body of the saber was engraved with a huge bird. With an invincible aura, the war saber slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. Everyone, be careful. Kill the experts of the Qilin lineage with all your might. Yi Chunfeng reminded them and faced the demon Celestial with the demon sword in his hand. Limitless chaos. The demi-ancestor demon Celestial's strength was too terrifying. Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to be careless. He immediately used his killer move and deduced the 4 sacred Tao diagrams to the extreme. He merged them with the chaotic divine wood and evolved the limitless great Tao to attack the demi-ancestor demon Celestial. At this moment, the primitive Tao fetus and the Godfiend Torch Dragon also used their most powerful killer moves to attack the demi-ancestor demon Celestial. They wanted to gather everyone's strength to severely injure the demi-ancestor demon Celestial. Break! The demi-ancestor demon Celestial roared and slashed down with his war saber. The terrifying saber radiance directly slashed through the killer moves launched by Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng without any reduction in power. Life and Death Plate. Yi Chunfeng didn't expect the demi-ancestor demon Celestial to be so powerful that he could break through their attacks with a single slash. Without hesitation, he summoned the ancestral artifact, Life and Death Plate, and used it to block the saber radiance that slashed through the void. Boom! The Life and Death Plate trembled violently after receiving the saber radiance slashed down by the demi-ancestor demon Celestial. Boundless Tao intent constantly attacked the Life and Death Plate, trying to slash it back. Life and Death Plate, grind life and death. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng injected a large amount of Tao intent into the Life and Death Plate. He controlled the black and white Life and Death Plate to twist and turn, forming a powerful distortion force that forcefully grinded the demi-ancestor demon Celestial's invincible saber radiance. Undying demon Celestial's Life and Death Plate. The demi-ancestor demon Celestial was even more tempted when he saw the Life and Death Plate summoned by Yi Chunfeng. In the past, the Undying Demon Celestial was able to suppress the Golden Rock Demon Celestial because of the Undying Demon Celestial and the Life and Death Plate. Legend had it that when the Life and Death Plate was unleashed to the extreme, it could easily control a person's life and death. Even an ancestor-level expert wouldn't be spared. When Yi Chunfeng used the Life and Death Plate to block the demi-ancestor demon Celestial's attack, the Godfiend Torch Dragon once again stabbed out with his spear. The terrifying spear radiance was like a flood dragon that could overturn rivers and seas. It swept through the space and stabbed towards the demi-ancestor demon Celestial. Although the Godfiend is powerful, your cultivation realm is too low. The demi-ancestor demon Celestial waved his invincible saber radiance and slashed down on the Godfiend Torch Dragon's spear radiance. Chapter 1738. Let me send you all to hell. Relying on absolute strength to suppress Yi Qinfeng and the rest, the demonic celestial gushed out terrifying Tao intent and demonic energy. A huge black eagle phantom emerged from his body. With a slash of his blade, the shadow of the black eagle that appeared on his body instantly transformed into dozens of terrifying blade rays, sealing the space around Yi Qinfeng's body and bringing about a fatal threat to them. At the crucial moment, the two ancestral statues appeared in front of Yi Qinfeng and the rest. They released powerful ancestral aura and blocked the invincible blade slash of the demonic celestial, resolving the crisis for Yi Qinfeng and the rest. Are you guys courting death? The demonic celestial glared furiously at the ape divine king and peacock king and roared furiously. Demonic bird imperial flag, seal the space. As the half-step martial ancestor Fei Celestial roared furiously, Yi Qinfeng summoned the demonic bird emperor flag. Then, he controlled the demonic bird emperor flag and waved it rapidly. A large number of formation runes appeared and sealed the space around the half-step martial ancestor Fei Celestial. Senior Ape Divine King, Peacock King, used the ancestral statues to attack. While using the demonic bird imperial flag to restrict the demonic celestial's movement, Yi Qinfeng shouted at the Ape Divine King and Peacock King. Ancestral statues destroy. Upon hearing Yi Qinfeng's shout, the two demonic beast kings immediately controlled the ancestral statues to attack the demonic celestial. They wanted to borrow the power of the ancestral statues to severely injure the demonic celestial. Humph. You guys are too naive if you want to injure me with mere ancestral statues. Although the ancestral statues were terrifying, the demonic celestial was already half a step into the ancestor realm. The power in his body had also evolved by more than half. Facing the two ancestral statues, the demonic celestial wasn't afraid at all. He rapidly deduced his Tao intent and unleashed his terrifying ancestral strength to the extreme. He slashed at the two ancestral statues with his invincible blade. Ka ka ka! Facing the demonic celestial's frenzied attacks, the surface of the two ancestral statues cracked continuously. However, the ancestral aura released by the ancestral statues still brought great pressure to the demonic celestial. It shattered the black robe that shrouded his body, revealing his true form. Heaven wheel, destroy! While the half-step ancestor demon god was fighting the two ancestral statues, the god-fiend torch dragon controlled the heavenly wheel to descend from the sky. It carried astonishing destructive power and bombarded the half-step ancestor demon god. When the heavenly wheel attacked, the god-fiend torch dragon increased his strength to 300 billion jin. With a thrust of his spear, the chaotic space was directly pierced through. A terrifying spear light pierced towards the half-step ancestor demon god's head. Facing the bombardment, the half-ancestor demon god didn't panic. He relied on his absolute strength and the power of the ancestral demon to launch ferocious attacks with the invincible saber. He slashed away the heavenly wheel and shattered the tyrannical spear of the fiend god torch dragon. He then fought fiercely with the two ancestral statues. Seeing the half-step ancestor Fei Celestial shattering the two ancestral statues, Yi Qinfeng summoned the spiritual bead of death and spiritual bead of life. He controlled the two spiritual beads to fuse with the wheel of life and death, increasing its power. In the next moment, Yi Qinfeng unleashed the Tao of equipment manipulation, raising the might of the wheel of life and death that had fused with the bead of life and death to the peak. He then bombarded the half-step ancestor demon god that was being held back by the two ancestral statues. The wheel of life and death was the ancestral artifact that the undying demon ancestor obtained on the ancient path of stars. Its power was extremely terrifying, enough to destroy a world. What? Feeling the surging power of life and death within the wheel of life and death, the half-step ancestor demon god's eyes widened in disbelief. He couldn't believe that a two-star Tao god like Yi Chunfeng could unleash the strongest attack of the Wheel of Life and Death. Feeling the threat of the Wheel of Life and Death, the half-step ancestor demon god instinctively wanted to dodge. However, the two ancestral statues had sealed off all his dodging space, making it impossible for him to dodge. He could only face the strongest attack of the Wheel of Life and Death head-on. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion shook the heavens. The half-step ancestor demon god unleashed his attack power to the peak and slashed at the Wheel of Life and Death with all his might. The invincible saber that was incomparably tough and had reached the level of a supreme grade transcending Heaven's Saint artifact cracked. Moreover, the numerous life-saving trump cards he unleashed were also shattered under the strongest attack of the Wheel of Life and Death. Although he gave it his all and used almost all of his life-saving trump cards to defend against the fatal attack of the Wheel of Life and Death, the power of life and death that surged out from the Wheel of Life and Death still blasted into his body, shattering his physical body and sending him flying. The flame of life in his body had also dimmed by a lot. Ancestor King Qilin, who had unleashed a shocking power to suppress the Chaos Divine Beast, felt an inexplicable sense of unease when he saw his greatest reliance, the half-step ancestor demon god, being sent flying by the Wheel of Life and Death. Old bastard, go to hell! The Chaos Divine Beast, who was riddled with injuries, seized this opportunity to continuously spit out chaotic 5 elements light, bombarding King Qilin's body and injuring him. Damn you, bastard, I'll kill you first! Being injured by the Chaos Divine Beast had completely infuriated King Qilin. Just as he was about to kill the Chaos Divine Beast in one go, the primitive Tao embryo fell from the sky like a divine stone and ruthlessly smashed into his body. The terrifying power directly smashed him into the ground from mid-air. The Qilin King and the Qilin King, who were the strongest among them, had suffered heavy injuries one after another. This greatly affected the morale of the Qilin lineage. They were simply unable to withstand the ferocious attacks of Xiao Wendai, Jin Qing Long Shuelian, and the others. Human Jr., I swear I'm not a human if I don't kill you! The severely injured half-step ancestor demon god roared furiously and quickly took out an incomparably precious ancestor pellet and swallowed it into his stomach. He borrowed the powerful medicinal efficacy of the ancestor pellet to suppress his injuries. In the next moment, the half-step ancestor demon god ignored his injuries and pushed his attack power to the limit. He launched a ferocious counterattack, determined to kill Yi Chunfeng and seize the life and death plate. However, under the obstruction of the two ancestral statues, the half-step ancestor demon god's continuous attacks couldn't threaten Yi Chunfeng. On the other hand, Yi Chunfeng, who possessed boundless Tao force, was constantly controlling the life and death plate, the undying inheritance, and the demon sealing sword's ferocious attacks, worsening his injuries. Bloodline ignition. The half-step ancestor demon god didn't shrink back as his injuries gradually worsened. He burned his powerful bloodline to further suppress his injuries and ferociously attacked the two ancestral statues. He wanted to destroy the two ancestral statues that posed the greatest threat to him and then kill Yi Chunfeng and the fiend god Torch Dragon. Life and death plate decide life and death. While the two ancestral statues and the half-step ancestor demon god were fiercely attacking each other, Yi Chunfeng spat out 2 drops of grand mist blood into the life and death plate, activating the life and death plate's formidable power. It twisted the space and bombarded the half-step ancestor demon god. The moment the life and death plate attacked, the demonic bird imperial flag suddenly shrank the formation runes, forcibly restricting the half-step ancestor demon god's space to dodge, making it impossible for him to dodge. Ancestral statues explode. When the half-step ancestor demon god burned his powerful bloodline power to resist the life and death plate's fatal attack, the Peacock King suddenly exploded the ancestral statues, releasing a heaven-shaking destructive power. It launched a fatal attack at the half-step ancestor demon god from a short distance away. Boom! Half of the half-step ancestor demon god's body was shattered by the self-destruction of the ancestral statues. His entire body ruthlessly smashed into the space wall sealed by the demonic bird imperial flag. The terrifying impact forcibly shattered the layers of formation runes. With his body shattered, the half-step ancestor demon god became timid. He didn't dare to stay any longer and immediately used his life-saving trump card to flee. Where do you think you're going? Chapter 1739. Damn it, how did this happen? Witnessing the half-ancestor demon god escaping with severe injuries, King Qilin's heart sank to the bottom. Without the half-ancestor demon god's support, he was no match for the ape god and peacock king. If he continued to stay here, he would be doomed. At the thought of this, King Qilin had no choice but to lead the great demons of the Qilin lineage and escape from the chaotic Green Mountain. King Qilin, didn't you want to kill us? Why are you escaping now? The ape god leaped up like a towering mountain and blocked in front of King Qilin. He waved his black staff and whipped towards King Qilin with a force of tens of billions of pounds. When King Qilin tried his best to dodge the ape god's attack, the Peacock King attacked with the 5 elements Dao intent. The terrifying Great 5 Elements sword engulfed King Qilin with a murderous aura. God perplexing fist. When King Qilin waved his scarlet blood sacred axe and forcefully tore apart the Great 5 Elements sword, the blood shadow of a true god emerged from the spiritual fish and blasted the god perplexing fist at King Qilin. With a punch, the destructive energy surged. It was as if doomsday had arrived. It landed on King Qilin's body, who couldn't dodge in time. It shattered his defense and sent him flying. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. King Qilin lost control of his body. The primitive Tao fetus of the spiritual fish appeared behind him and unleashed a force of tens of billions of pounds. It slammed into his body and worsened his injuries. Qilin blood fat, complete fusion. As his injuries worsened, King Qilin immediately fused with the Qilin blood fat to increase his strength to the maximum. He tried his best to break out of the encirclement. King Qilin, stop your meaningless struggle. You won't be able to escape. The Peacock King controlled the 5 Elements mountain to suppress the area and restrict King Qilin's speed. On the other hand, the ape god controlled the broken ancestral statue to block King Qilin's escape route. You forced me to do this. With his escape route cut off, King Qilin was in despair. However, he didn't accept his fate. He quickly consumed a precious black fruit and used it to increase his strength. As the black fruit melted in his body, a terrifying power exploded in his body, and disgusting bumps appeared on the surface of his strong body. All of you, go to hell. With the help of the black fruit, King Qilin reached the pinnacle of the 5-star demon celestial. He attacked the ape god and peacock king with a murderous aura. Ancestral statue destroy. At the critical moment, the ancestral statue appeared in front of the divine ape king at an astonishing speed. It swung its huge fist, shattering the void with one punch, and clashed with the attack of King Qilin. Meanwhile, the divine ape king, peacock king, Xia-patterned butterfly, and the rest seized this opportunity to attack King Qilin ferociously, shattering his defense and worsening his injuries. Mountain. While King Qilin was fighting the divine ape king and the others, the chaos divine beast turned into a chaos divine mountain and smashed toward King Qilin with a force of more than 120 billion pounds. Gotcha. King Qilin, who was attacked from the front and back, was powerless to fight back. The chaotic divine beast transformed into a chaotic mountain and smashed onto his body. Crisp sounds of bones breaking rang out in his body. Sky-propping rod. While King Qilin's body was sinking, the ape god and the black rod fused together and turned into a giant rod. It slammed into King Qilin's chest and directly penetrated his chest. King Qilin, you have lost your advantage. Perish. A giant shadow of a peacock appeared from the Peacock King's body. It was as if a divine bird had descended from the heavens. It slammed into the King of Kirin's body, smashing half of his body into pieces. Wait, don't kill him yet. Just as King Divine Ape was about to kill King Qilin, the Chaos Divine Beast suddenly stopped everyone and shouted, "Do you want to ask about your parents?" King Qilin, whose body was mostly destroyed and whose life was at its end, coughed out large amounts of blood and asked weakly, "My father saw you as his brother. Why did you kill us?" The divine beast of chaos glared at King Qilin, who had pushed his family into the fire. "You can't blame me. You can only blame your unique bloodline. Someone needs your parents' bloodline and demonic elixir to break through to the empty god realm." King Qilin stared at the divine beast of chaos with his bloodshot eyes and said crazily, "Who is it? Who is the mastermind?" The divine beast of chaos roared crazily, "Why? Is it difficult to guess the answer?" King Qilin said coldly, "I'll wait for you down there. I believe we will meet soon. Someone will avenge me." After saying that, King Qilin, the monster king of the monster zone who had dominated the monster zone for countless years, exploded his demonic elixir and died. "Golden Rock demonic ancestor, you are the mastermind," the divine beast of chaos said viciously. He was determined to kill Golden Rock demonic ancestor to avenge his parents. "Alright, don't be sad. Let's hurry to the ancestral city of Qilin. If I'm not wrong, the demonic ancestor will escape to the ancestral city when he is severely injured. He will make use of the power of the ancestral city to deal with young Master Yi." The Peacock King urged. "Alright, let's go to the ancestral city of Qilin." After saying that, everyone flew away from the heavily damaged Green Mountain and followed the Divine Ape King and the Peacock King to the ancestral city of Qilin. Just as the Peacock King had predicted, the severely injured demonic ancestor fled to the ancestral city of Qilin with all his might. He wanted to make use of the ancestral city's power to kill Yi Chunfeng and seize everything he had. However, Yi Chunfeng, who had refined the undying wings, was too fast. He constantly closed the distance between them and continued to attack the demonic ancestor's broken body, aggravating his injuries. If the demonic ancestor wasn't strong enough to make use of the demonic ancestor's power to neutralize the attacks, he would have been killed by Yi Chunfeng's continuous attack. Life force burn. As his injuries worsened, the half-step ancestor Yao Celestial could barely hold on. Left with no other choice, he had to burn his powerful life force to suppress his injuries and resist Yi Chunfeng's relentless attack. Slowly, he flew into the Qilin ancestral city. "Human Jr., just you wait. I swear I will pull out your tendons and skin you alive and refine your soul." After paying a huge price and burning nearly half of his life force, the demonic ancestor finally escaped to the ancestral city of Qilin. However, his injuries were too severe and he had burned more than half of his life force. If he couldn't kill Yi Chunfeng and seize the undying demonic ancestor's inheritance, death would be the only thing waiting for him. There won't be such a day. Purple lightning flickered in Yi Chunfeng's palm. Streaks of lightning streaked across the sky and attacked the demonic ancestor's body continuously, aggravating his injuries. He chased the demonic ancestor to the ancestral city of Qilin. "Ancestral aura power fuse with my body." After flying to the ancestral city of Qilin, the demonic ancestor immediately executed a secret technique to mobilize the powerful ancestral city's power and fuse it with his body. He rapidly recovered his physical body and his injuries. Your fate is already sealed. Even the ancestral city of Qilin can't save you." Chapter 1740. Boom. Yi Chunfeng's demon sealing sword collided with the invincible war saber in the hands of the half-step ancestor demon Celestial. Dazzling sparks surged in midair. Yi Chunfeng had unleashed his physical strength and Tao intent to the extreme, but he still couldn't shake the half-step ancestor demon celestial who had fused with the ancestral bloodline's power. This made him calm down and he revealed a sinister expression. Human Junior, this will be your grave. Accept your death obediently. As I said, your fate is sealed. Even the Qilin ancestral bloodline can't save you. As he spoke, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Wood and controlled it to grow bigger. It took root in the Qilin ancestral bloodline that was emitting boundless ancestral aura power and forcefully severed the connection between the Qilin ancestral bloodline and the half-step ancestor demon celestial. Subsequently, the primitive Tao embryo flew out of the universe realm and directly entered the Qilin ancestral bloodline. It opened all the acupoints in its body and frantically devoured the ancestral aura power of the Qilin ancestral bloodline to increase its strength. Senior, quickly come out and help me. Sensing that the Qilin ancestral bloodline was forcefully severed by the Chaos Divine Wood, the half-step ancestor demon celestial's expression changed drastically. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng summoned the fiend god Torch Dragon and attacked the half-step ancestor demon celestial with him. Godless sword. With a stab, Yi Chunfeng's Tao intent and strength were deduced to the extreme. Over 800 ancestral runes were completely activated at this moment. A terrifying sword intent that contained the power to destroy everything and devour heaven and earth pierced towards the half-step ancestor demon celestial. Undying fiend god sky. Boundless power gushed out of the fiend god Torch Dragon's body and formed a boundless sky above his head. He thrust his spear forward and the boundless sky frantically fused into his 8 ferocious war spear. The terrifying spear light seemed to be able to penetrate the sun and moon and penetrate the body of the half-step ancestor demon celestial. Facing the strongest attack of Yi Chunfeng and the fiend god Torch Dragon, the half-step ancestor demon celestial didn't dare to face it head-on. He wanted to rely on his unpredictable speed to dodge. But the moment he dodged, the Chaos Divine Wood rooted in the ancestral vein swayed its 5-colored treetop, forming a large amount of chaotic 5 elements light, sealing off the space he could dodge and limiting his speed. When the half-ancestor demon god dodged the invincible godless sword that stole the brilliance of heaven and earth, he was unable to dodge the godfiend Torch Dragon's invincible spear. Helplessly, the half-step ancestor demon celestial could only suppress his injuries and brandish his invincible war saber ferociously to weaken the spear thrust by the fiend god Torch Dragon. Life and death plate, seize life and death. When the half-ancestor demon god disregarded his injuries and forcefully broke through the indestructible spear strike of the fiend god Torch Dragon, the life and death plate fused with the life and death spirit pearl appeared above his head. It ground the space above his head and interweaved with the terrifying power of life and death, destroying the half-ancestor demon god's broken body. PFFF. PFFF. Under the grinding of the wheel of life and death, the half-step demon celestial's body continued to shatter. Large amounts of flesh and blood turned into a bloody mist that drifted in the chaotic space. Blood wave saber. Although his injuries were getting worse, the half-ancestor demon god didn't accept his fate. He mobilized the bloody mist floating around his body and frenziedly fused it into the invincible war saber. He slashed out layers of blood wave saber slashes like surging waves that rolled the void and shattered the life and death plate's attack. Demon Bird Emperor Flag, extinguish. When the half-ancestor demon god was clashing with the life and death plate, Yi Chunfeng, who possessed boundless Tao force, summoned the demon Bird Emperor Flag and continuously injected powerful golden Tao force into it. He controlled the demon Bird Emperor Flag to sway rapidly and transformed into an astonishingly mighty undying bird. The undying bird roared towards the sky and penetrated the blood sea to attack the half-ancestor demon god. PFFF. The half-ancestor demon god who was clashing with the life and death plate was powerless to dodge and was struck by the undying bird. His chest directly exploded, leaving behind a large amount of bloody mist in midair before he fell to the ground. Ka ka ka. The moment the half-ancestor demon god fell, the fiend god torch dragon took a step across the space. The terrifying step was filled with hundreds of billions of kilograms of force. It shattered layers of space and stomped on the half-ancestor demon god's body, nearly crushing his body. Ancestral bloodline power fuse. With his life hanging by a thread and his body in tatters, the half-ancestor demon god continuously executed secret arts to forcefully communicate with the Qilin ancestral bloodline. He wanted to borrow the ancestral bloodline power to make a final stand. However, the Qilin ancestral bloodline was sealed by the Chaos Divine Wood. No matter how hard the half-ancestor demon god tried to communicate, he couldn't fuse with the ancestral bloodline power. As the primitive Tao embryo devoured the half-ancestor demon god, the power contained within the primitive Tao embryo rose rapidly and showed signs of breaking through to the 5-star Tao god realm. Just as the half-ancestor demon god was about to be annihilated by Yi Chunfeng and the fiend god Torch Dragon, a huge dark golden hand suddenly appeared in the chaotic void. It covered a corner of the sky and released a powerful ancestral aura that blasted towards Yi Chunfeng and the fiend god Torch Dragon. Another half-ancestor demon god. Yi Chunfeng's expression changed slightly when he was suddenly attacked by the huge dark golden hand. He decisively controlled the life and death plate to defend himself. The half-ancestor demon god, who was severely injured, seized this opportunity to escape from the collapsed ground and appeared in midair. Human Jr., are you done? At this moment, a crack appeared in the void and a burly old man wearing a dark golden long robe appeared. His body was covered in ancient totem patterns, his forehead was covered in black scales, and he was standing on an ancient bronze bowl. He had a head of long dark gray hair and his voice was as loud as a drum. Flood Dragon Emperor, you're finally here. Looking at the old man who suddenly appeared, the half-ancestor demon god who was severely injured and whose life was hanging by a thread heaved a sigh of relief. Flood Dragon Emperor, you're the guardian of the demon domain. After subduing Peacock King, Yi Chunfeng obtained a lot of important information from him. He knew that there was a half-ancestor guardian hidden in the demon domain, the Flood Dragon Emperor, guarding the entire demon domain and preventing outsiders from invading. However, he rarely showed himself and rarely interfered with the matters of the demon domain's 3 lineages. Even so, his deterrence was huge and the 3 lineages of the demon domain all respected him. Human Jr., Fiend God, this isn't a place for you to behave atrociously. Stop. The Flood Dragon Emperor looked coldly at Yi Chunfeng and the Fiend God Torch Dragon, and said in a deep voice, Flood Dragon Emperor, we can't let them go. The half-ancestor demon god shouted, that human brat has obtained the inheritance of the immortal demon ancestor. If we let him go, it will be a great loss to our demon race. The inheritance of the immortal demon ancestor. The Flood Dragon Emperor's eyes shone brightly. You're telling the truth. Flood Dragon Emperor, the thing that blocked your attack just now was the life and death plate of the immortal demon ancestor. The demon bird emperor flag is floating above his head and the immortal wings are extending from his back. He has obtained the 3 great inheritances of the immortal demon ancestor. I didn't expect that the inheritance of the immortal demon ancestor would see the light of day again. The Flood Dragon Emperor's eyes were burning with passion and intense greed appeared in his calm heart. Even a true ancestor-level expert wouldn't be able to resist the inheritance of the immortal demon ancestor, let alone him. Human brat, the immortal demon ancestor is a legend of our demon race. His inheritance must remain in our demon race. You can't take it away. The Flood Dragon Emperor concealed the greed in his heart and said coldly, What a dignified excuse, but unfortunately, I won't buy it. Although the Flood Dragon Emperor was terrifying, Yi Chunfeng still wanted to fight him. If he couldn't win, he could use the immortal wings to leave calmly. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being ruthless. The Flood Dragon Emperor's pupils constricted. His majestic demonic aura stirred up the void like raging waves. The terrifying battle intent seemed to destroy everything as it swept towards Yi Chunfeng. Humph, we don't know who will die yet. Chapter 1741. Ancestral Artifact. Sensing the might of the demon's sealing sword, the Flood Dragon Emperor's expression changed slightly. He revealed a look of surprise. He quickly spat out a 1-meter-long scepter that was a supreme-grade transcendent saint artifact. It was crystal clear like a jade carving and faced the demon's sealing sword head-on. Bang! A deafening collision sound rang out. The demon's sealing sword and the skull scepter clashed, creating an endless amount of sparks in the air. Flood Dragon Emperor, let me help you. The demonic god took a deep breath and stabilized his injuries. He flew over with the invincible battle saber in his hand. He wanted to join forces with the Flood Dragon Emperor to kill Yi Chunfeng and seize his treasures. Demonic god, do you really think I can't kill you? Yi Chunfeng had long possessed the strength to kill a half-martial ancestor demon god, but he delayed killing him because he wanted to capture him and search his soul to obtain important information from his memories. But now, the Flood Dragon Emperor's threat was too great. He had no choice but to change his mind and kill the demonic god with all his might. Senior, help me stall the Flood Dragon Emperor for a few breaths. I will go and kill the demonic god. Yi Chunfeng transmitted his voice. All right, no problem. Although the divine fiend Torch Dragon's strength was not as strong as the Flood Dragon Emperor, his battle prowess was equally terrifying. He held the 8 vicious war spear and controlled the heavenly wheel. He unleashed a force of over 300 billion jin and attacked the Flood Dragon Emperor. The Flood Dragon Emperor did not dare to underestimate such a terrifying attack. He held the skull scepter in his hand and met the attack with all his might. While the divine fiend Torch Dragon and the Flood Dragon Emperor were fighting fiercely, Yi Chunfeng flapped his undying wings and swept up a hurricane to attack the demonic god. Demonic Bird Emperor Flag Seal. As he approached the demonic Bird Emperor Flag, Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the demonic Bird Emperor Flag above his head to release thousands of formation runes that sealed the entire space and restricted the demonic god's mobility. Artifact Controlling Dao. Following that, Yi Chunfeng executed the Dao of Artifact Controlling and activated more than 800 ancestral runes, raising the demon sealing sword's offensive power to the limit. He then executed the Spiritless Sword to attack the half-step ancestor Yao Celestial. With a stab of the sword, the world lost all light. A terrifying sword light tore through the entire space. This sword contained boundless Dao intent. This sword could slash apart the sun, moon, and stars. This invincible sword caused the half-martial ancestor's expression to change greatly. He desperately tried to dodge. However, the entire space was sealed by the demonic bird Imperial Flag. The demonic bird Demon Celestial could not dodge at all. He could only burn his demonic sage core and defend with all his might. However, his injuries were too severe. He was unable to unleash his full strength. Yi Chunfeng's attack had activated the demon sealing sword's strongest attack. Pooh! The half-step ancestor demon god's defense was broken by Yi Chunfeng's sword. The terrifying invincible sword pierced through his body and exploded half of his body. Just as the half-ancestor demon god's soul was about to escape, the life and death plate appeared above his head and reversed the power of life and death, directly annihilating his soul. The half-step ancestor demon god, who had guarded the Qilin lineage for countless years and was only a step away from the ancestor realm, had died. You! How dare you kill a half-step ancestor demon god? After witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng killing the half-step ancestor demon god with all his strength, the Flood Dragon Emperor's face instantly turned gloomy. Although he had an ordinary relationship with the half-step ancestor demon god, they were still part of the demon race. The death of the half-step ancestor demon god had completely infuriated the Flood Dragon Emperor. So what if I killed him? What can you do to me? Yi Chunfeng replied domineeringly. Good, good. I forgot how many years it has been since someone spoke to me like this. I want to see if your strength is as arrogant as your tone. The Flood Dragon Emperor's eyes shot out a sinister look. He held the skull scepter in his hand and blasted the god-fiend torch dragon away. With a shocking killing intent, he attacked Yi Chunfeng. With a swing of the scepter, a flood dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws flew out. It opened its bloody mouth and bit towards Yi Chunfeng. Facing the Flood Dragon Emperor, whose strength was far beyond his own, Yi Chunfeng did not dare to be careless. He rapidly flapped his undying wings and dodged the attack with all his might. You want to dodge? Can you dodge? Thousand Dragons Scepter. The Flood Dragon Emperor deduced his Tao intent to the extreme and executed an extremely powerful large-scale killer move. Over 1,000 mighty dragon scepter shadows flew across the sky and sealed the entire space. They ferociously attacked Yi Chunfeng and the god-fiend Torch Dragon. 100 layers of spatial restriction. Unable to dodge, Yi Chunfeng immediately executed the spatial laws and formed 100 layers of restrictions around him to resist the attack of the 1,000 Dragons' scepter. The god-fiend Torch Dragon also executed an extremely powerful killer move. Its entire body turned scarlet red. It waved the 8 ferocious war spear like a mountain and attacked ferociously, shattering the oncoming 1,000 Dragons' scepter shadows. Ka. The 1,000 Dragons' scepter executed by the Flood Dragon Emperor was too powerful. The 100 layers of spatial restriction could not withstand it and continuously shattered. After shattering dozens of 1,000 dragons' scepter shadows, the god-fiend Torch Dragon was also unable to withstand it. His injuries continued to worsen as his strong body continued to explode. At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng controlled the universe mirror to release a powerful suction force and teleported himself and the god-fiend Torch Dragon into the universe mirror to avoid the attack of the 1,000 dragons' scepter. Do you think that I can't do anything to you just because you're hiding in a portable cave residence? The Flood Dragon Emperor's pupils constricted. His powerful soul force instantly locked onto the space that the universe mirror was hiding in. He struck out with his scepter and the space instantly shattered. The terrifying power directly broke through the universe mirror's defense, causing the entire universe mirror to shake violently. Terrifying, this Flood Dragon Emperor's strength is too terrifying. Sensing that the universe mirror could not withstand the Flood Dragon Emperor's attack, Yi Chunfeng and the godfiend Torch Dragon quickly consumed 2 precious heaven-piercing saint pellets and stabilized their injuries in the 20-fold time flow. They left the universe mirror and appeared outside, continuing their intense battle with the Flood Dragon Emperor. Life and Death Plate, decide life and death. As Yi Chunfeng and the godfiend Torch Dragon worked together to resist the Flood Dragon Emperor's attack, the Life and Death Plate twisted the space around it and smashed towards the Flood Dragon Emperor. Dragon Bone Scissors. The Flood Dragon Emperor did not dare to be careless when the Life and Death Plate attacked. He quickly spat out a pair of scissors refined from dragon bone and attacked the Life and Death Plate to defend against it. Chaos Divine Wood, come back! The Flood Dragon Emperor's strength was too terrifying. Yi Chunfeng and the godfiend Torch Dragon weren't his match even if they worked together. He quickly summoned the Chaos Divine Wood that was rooted in the Qilin ancestral vein and borrowed its strength to resist the Flood Dragon Emperor. Ancestral Aura. Another ancestral artifact. Sensing the powerful ancestral aura from the Chaos Divine Wood, the Flood Dragon Emperor raised his brows in shock. He was shocked that Yi Chunfeng could control 4 ancestral artifacts by himself. However, the stronger Yi Chunfeng's foundation was, the more determined the Flood Dragon Emperor was to kill him. At this moment, the Flood Dragon Emperor felt that Yi Chunfeng was the greatest opportunity that the heavens had given him. If he could kill him, He might be able to use the treasures on him to take the most difficult step and break through to the ancestral demon realm. Sky Splitter Bone Shadow. The Flood Dragon Emperor relied on his absolute strength to resist the life and death plate, the undying wings, and the chaos divine wood. He injected a large amount of Tao intent and ancestral demon power into the skull scepter, causing the fist-sized skulls on the scepter to fall. In the next moment, the falling skulls turned into terrifying white light. With the power to destroy the heavens, they attacked Yi Chunfeng and the Godfiend Torch Dragon at close range. The Godfiend Torch Dragon unleashed its strongest attack, but it was only able to block 2 white bone lights before it was injured and fell to the ground. As for Yi Chunfeng, he was surrounded by more than 10 white bone lights. Go to hell. The Flood Dragon Emperor's thoughts moved, and more than 10 white bone lights attacked at the same time. They shattered Yi Chunfeng's 100 layers of spatial restriction and bombarded his body. Bang! Chapter 1742. Chunfeng. The Divine Fiend Torch Dragon, who had fallen to the ground, saw Yi Chunfeng's body being destroyed by the white bone light. He immediately became nervous and flew out of the pit to save Yi Chunfeng, ignoring his injuries. You can go to hell too. The Dragon King's dragon bone scissors became bigger and bigger. It was like a divine dragon opening its bloody mouth and biting the Divine Fiend Torch Dragon, trying to tear him apart. Immortal Godfiend Sky. The dragon bone scissors attacked. The Divine Fiend Torch Dragon burned his chi and blood to increase his attack power to the maximum. He stabbed out streaks of inextinguishable spear radiance to attack the dragon bone scissors that had turned into a divine dragon, not giving it a chance to get close. Immortal Divine Power. When the Divine Fiend Torch Dragon relied on his absolute attack to resist the dragon bone scissors, a deep voice sounded in the chaotic void. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng's broken body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chunfeng's broken body had been repaired and returned to normal. Immortal Divine Power. The Immortal Demon Ancestors' Immortal Divine Power. The Dragon King's eyes shone with a burning light. I didn't expect the Immortal Demon Ancestor to impart such a heaven-defying divine power to you. You're really something. However, the Immortal Divine Power has a time limit. You can't use it without a limit. You won't be able to turn the situation around with this divine power alone. Dragon King, do you think you can defeat me for sure? Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly and revealed an arrogant smile. If I want to leave, you won't be able to stop me with your strength. However, I won't leave because I still want to chop off your head. Why? You still have a trump card. The Dragon King said fearlessly. However, you're too weak. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. You'll definitely die. Is that so? Yi Chunfeng sneered. He instantly burned 20,000 years of his lifespan and forcefully raised his cultivation by 2 levels to become a 4-star Tao god. Then, he burned his primordial bloodline again and merged it with the Divine Blood Pearl, Chaos Essence Pearl, and Huang Stone to raise his strength to a 6-star Tao god. He was infinitely close to the Dragon King. What kind of ability is this? Sensing Yi Chunfeng's rising strength, the Flood Dragon Sovereign was stunned. He revealed a shocked expression. He had never seen such an inconceivable method of raising one's cultivation. Divine Burning Technique. While the Flood Dragon Emperor was still in shock, the Godfiend Torch Dragon used a secret technique of the Godfiend race, instantly igniting all the power in his body and suppressing his injuries, forcibly raising his strength to that of a 6-star Tao god. I have underestimated your methods. A solemn expression appeared on the Flood Dragon Emperor's face. He instantly transformed into his strongest battle form, preparing to kill Yi Chunfeng and the Godfiend Torch Dragon with all his might. Infinite Chaos. With his strength skyrocketing to the extreme, the Chaos Divine Wood appeared on Yi Chunfeng's body. He stabbed out with his sword, and the 4 saint-level Tao diagrams and the saint-level sword spirit that turned into the boundless Tao sea merged into the demon sealing sword. More than 800 ancestral runes were fully activated, increasing the attack power of the demon sealing sword. Unparalleled ability. Feeling the destructive power of the infinite chaos, the Flood Dragon Emperor's expression changed slightly. He quickly waved his skull scepter, forming a ferocious flood dragon that collided with the infinite chaos. It was like 2 endless torrents that fiercely repelled each other in the void. Undying Godfiend Sky. The Godfiend Torch Dragon also stabbed out with his peerless spear, piercing through the Flood Dragon Emperor's attack and aiming for his chest. Dragon Bone Scissors. At this critical moment, the Flood Dragon Emperor controlled the Dragon Bone Scissors to continuously expand in front of him, blocking the peerless spear of the Godfiend Torch Dragon. Life and Death Plate. Reverse Life and Death. When the Flood Dragon Emperor was shaken, Yi Chunfeng channeled all the Tao energy in his body into the Life and Death Plate, activating the power of Life and Death in the Life and Death Plate to attack the Flood Dragon Emperor, forcing him to continuously use his defensive trump cards to defend himself. Although the Flood Dragon Emperor relied on his shocking methods to block the attack of the Life and Death Plate, the power of Life and Death still broke through his defense and entered his body, injuring him. Chaos Divine Wood, Undying Wings, attack with all your might. After burning his primordial bloodline, Yi Chunfeng possessed endless Tao energy. He constantly controlled the ancestral artifact to attack the Flood Dragon Emperor, using its power to suppress the Flood Dragon Emperor's attack. Bloodline Ignition. The Flood Dragon Emperor's attacks were suppressed by Yi Chunfeng's ancestral artifact, and his injuries were gradually worsening. He didn't hesitate to burn his powerful bloodline power and half-saint core, raising his strength to the limit to defend against Yi Chunfeng and the Godfiend Torch Dragon's attack. Originally, there was a huge difference in strength between a 6-star Tao God and a half-step ancestor. However, Yi Chunfeng had 4 ancestral artifacts, especially the Life and Death Plate. The Chaos Divine Wood's attacks were even more terrifying. Even after burning his powerful bloodline and half-saint core, the Flood Dragon Emperor couldn't block the ferocious attacks of Yi Chunfeng and the Godfiend Torch Dragon. Damn it, doesn't he know fatigue? The Flood Dragon Monarch, who had been injured by the 4 ancestral artifacts and vomited blood, felt uneasy for the first time when he saw Yi Chunfeng fighting bravely without any signs of exhaustion. However, when he thought about the benefits of killing Yi Chunfeng, he gritted his teeth and bitterly persevered. He believed that as long as he could endure this most difficult moment and exhaust all of Yi Chunfeng's Tao energy, he would definitely be able to turn the situation around and kill both Yi Chunfeng and the Godfiend Torch Dragon. However, as time passed, his injuries became more and more serious. His chest was also injured by the Life and Death Plate and the Chaos Divine Wood, but Yi Chunfeng still didn't show any signs of exhaustion. This made him want to retreat. Break! The Godfiend Torch Dragon roared and pushed his strength to the limit. His spear tore through the void and pierced towards the Flood Dragon Emperor with unstoppable momentum. When the Flood Dragon Emperor held the Skull Scepter and blocked the peerless spear of the Godfiend Torch Dragon, Yi Chunfeng used 10 times the flow of time and teleported in front of the Flood Dragon Emperor. Godless Sword. Following that, Yi Chunfeng stabbed out with his peerless sword. The terrifying sword light destroyed everything and pierced the Flood Dragon Emperor's chest. The terrifying sword intent broke through his defense and penetrated his chest. Junior, just you wait. This Emperor will definitely have his revenge. With his chest pierced and his meridians injured by the demon sealing sword's ancestral aura, the Flood Dragon Emperor wanted to break out of the encirclement and leave. Want to leave? It's too late. Yi Chunfeng had the Undying Wings. Not to mention a half-martial ancestor, even a true ancestor-level expert wouldn't be able to fly as fast as him. He quickly flapped the Undying Wings and created an afterimage in the air. he instantly intercepted the Flood Dragon Emperor and interweaved sword shadows to continue his fierce attacks. Demon Bird Emperor Flag, seal the space. After intercepting the Flood Dragon Emperor, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Demon Bird Emperor Flag to create a large number of formation runes that sealed the entire space and limited the Flood Dragon Emperor's speed, not giving him a chance to escape. Just as the Flood Dragon Emperor was trapped in the Demon Bird Emperor Flag's restricted space, the primitive Tao fetus swallowed the Qilin ancestral vein and forcefully raised its strength to a 6-star Tao god. It broke through the cracked ancestral land and flew into the air to join the battle. With the primitive Tao fetus joining the battle, the Flood Dragon Emperor's situation became even more dangerous. Sky Splitter Bone Shadow. The Flood Dragon Emperor didn't accept his fate. With the Skull Scepter in his hand, he unleashed his strongest attack. However, Yi Chunfeng and the Godfiend Torch Dragon were both 6-star Tao gods. In addition, the primitive Tao fetus had an indestructible body. The Flood Dragon Emperor's ultimate attack was completely restrained and couldn't threaten Yi Chunfeng's life. When Yi Chunfeng and the other two worked together to break the Flood Dragon Emperor's ultimate attack, the severely injured Flood Dragon Emperor could barely suppress his injuries and his attacks became slower and slower. In the end, under Yi Chunfeng's control of the 4 ancestral artifacts, the Godfiend Torch Dragon, and the primitive Tao fetus' ferocious attacks, the Flood Dragon Emperor's arms exploded. Chapter 1743. Phew! I've finally killed him. After killing the Flood Dragon Emperor, Yi Chunfeng let out a long sigh of relief. He quickly landed on the ruins of the Qilin ancestral grounds and took out 2 fruits of life. He swallowed them and recovered his 20,000 years of life. While Yi Chunfeng and the Godfiend Torch Dragon were recuperating under the protection of the primitive Tao embryo, the Ape Deity, Peacock King, and the others arrived. When they saw the corpses of the Flood Dragon Emperor and the half-ancestor demon god, they were all stunned. "Young Master Yi, did you kill them?" The Peacock King knew how terrifying the Flood Dragon Emperor was. The Flood Dragon Emperor and the half-ancestor demon god were the 2 strongest people in the demon domain. Now that they were both dead, the Peacock King and the Ape Deity felt that it was unreal. "Yes, I killed them all." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "I didn't want to kill the Flood Dragon Emperor, but he didn't know what was good for him and made an enemy out of me. I had no choice but to kill him." "Young Master Yi, the Flood Dragon Emperor's identity isn't simple. Rumor has it that he came from the Dragon Tribe and is the guardian of the demon domain. If you kill him, you might anger the Dragon Tribe and bring unnecessary trouble." The Peacock King said seriously, "Don't worry. The Dragon Tribe can't even take care of themselves now. They don't have the energy to care about the demon domain." Yi Chunfeng wasn't worried about the Dragon Tribe's revenge. "Boss, I want to stay here for a while. Can I?" Looking at the familiar Qilin ancestral grounds, the Chaos Divine Beast revealed a sorrowful expression and pleaded. "All right, then we'll stay here for a while." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said. After the Qilin lineage was destroyed and the Peacock King followed Yi Chunfeng, the entire demon domain was controlled by the Ape Deity. However, because of Yi Chunfeng, the Ape Deity didn't take over the Peacock lineage. Instead, he divided the Qilin lineage's territory with the Peacock lineage. While the demon domain was undergoing shocking changes, Yi Chunfeng had been hiding in the 4th level of the universe realm. He refined the ancestral pellet he obtained from the Undying Inheritance, stabilized his 2-star Tao God realm, and studied the Void Tao Steel. Very quickly, 3 years passed. Suddenly, one day, the celestial realm gate sealed by the fiend god Torch Dragon cracked. A man in a Taoist robe with powerful Tao will flowing all over his body passed through the celestial realm gate and ascended into the celestial realm. "I'm back. I'm finally back." Returning to the heaven domain that he had been away from for a long time, this man in a Taoist robe's cold and arrogant face revealed a deep sense of excitement. This man was none other than the Lord of the Dark North, who had been saved by Tai and had been recuperating and cultivating in the Sea of Mystery. With Tai's help, not only had the Dark North Lord recovered from his injuries, but he had also successfully broken through to become a 2-star Tao god. In addition, Tai had given him a supreme-grade Transcendent Saint artifact, the Lingxiao Royal Wheel. He could not wait to go to the Sky Clan for revenge. Tianxiong, back then, you destroyed my Dark North Mountain's legacy. Now, it's time to pay with your blood. The Dark North Lord did not contact Ling Yu and the others. He went to the Sky Clan alone, preparing to charge into the Sky Clan alone and kill the Sky Lord to avenge the dead disciples of the Dark North Mountain. A few days later, a huge piece of news exploded in the Heaven Domain, alarming many forces in the Heaven Domain. The Dark North Lord, who had disappeared for a long time, had returned. With his absolute strength, he had consecutively destroyed several large branches of the Sky Clan and massacred hundreds of experts of the Sky Clan. Although the Demon Domain had sealed the domain entrance, it did not affect them from gathering information in the Heaven Domain. The news of the Dark North Lord's return and massacring of the Sky Clan's branches had immediately reached the Ape God King's ears. The Dark North Lord is back. After hearing this news, the Ape God King revealed a deep sense of excitement. He found Yi Chenfeng and the others and told them the news. Senior Dark North Lord has finally ascended to the Heaven Domain. Yi Chenfeng revealed a faint smile and said, "Brother Chenfeng, let's quickly return to the Heaven Domain to help my father. I'm afraid that he will be at a disadvantage while taking revenge alone." Ling Yu gently shook Yi Chenfeng's arm and anxiously urged him. "All right." Yi Chenfeng nodded and said, "It's time to return to the Heaven Domain. Chenfeng, I will go with you to the Heaven Domain to help the Dark North Lord exterminate the Sky Clan," the graceful Ape God King said. "Senior Ape God, you should stay in the Demon Domain. After we help the Dark North Lord exterminate the Sky Clan, we will definitely bring the Dark North Lord back to reunite with you." Yi Chenfeng shook his head and said he was prepared to bear the fury of the Sky Clan alone. "All right then, I'll leave everything to you," the Ape God King said. "Don't worry. The Sky Clan and the Azure Clan will definitely be exterminated," Yi Chenfeng said confidently. "Let's go. We will leave the Demon Domain and head to the Sky Clan." After speaking, Yi Chenfeng sent everyone back to the Universe Realm and used the Qilin clan's ancient teleportation formation to leave the Demon Domain. They returned to the chaotic Heaven Domain and rushed in the direction of the Sky Clan. "What? The Dark North Lord exterminated another branch of my Sky Clan?" The Sky Lord, who had just broken through to the 2-star Tao God realm, roared furiously when he heard the news that his branches were being exterminated. "Clan leader, according to reliable news, the Dark North Lord has already broken through to the 2-star Tao God realm and possesses an extremely powerful sacred artifact. He is a great threat to us," the Sky Clan elder in charge of the news reported with a gloomy expression. "Let him be arrogant for a while. If he dares to come to my Sky Clan, I will make sure that he will not be able to return," the Sky Lord said with a gloomy expression. "That's right. How long before the Deity Clan comes to the Heaven Domain? The Void God Realm is too far away from the Heaven Domain. Even if we continuously teleport, it will still take about a month," the Sky Clan elder said. "Pass down my order. All branches of the Sky Clan will retreat to their ancestral land and wait for the Dark North Lord's arrival," the Sky Lord ordered. Under the Dark North Lord's revenge, many branches of the Sky Clan retreated to their ancestral land. The attention of many factions in the Heaven Domain was also focused on the Sky Clan's ancestral land. Just as everyone was guessing whether the Dark North Lord would dare to go to the Sky Clan's ancestral land for revenge, a piece of shocking news exploded in the Heaven Domain. Someone saw the Dark North Lord appear in the Sky Clan's ancestral land. Amazing! I didn't expect the Dark North Lord to really dare to go to the Sky Clan's ancestral land. It seems like he came prepared this time. So what if he came prepared? It's not like you don't know how terrifying the Sky Clan's ancestral land is. If the Dark North Lord dares to step into the Sky Clan's ancestral land, there is no hope of survival. Wait for the news slowly. I think there will be new news soon. Many factions in the Heaven Domain were guessing who would have the last laugh between the Dark North Lord and the Sky Lord. However, because the Sky Clan's ancestral land was extremely terrifying and the Sky Clan had a terrifying trump card that could shake the entire Heaven Domain, almost no one thought that the Dark North Lord would win. Just as many people were paying attention to the Sky Clan's ancestral land, a thunderous voice resounded in the sky above the Sky Clan's ancestral land. Sky Clan, I am back. Quickly come out and accept your death. The Dark North Lord floated in the air, controlling the supreme-grade Transcendent Saint artifact, the Lingxiao Royal Wheel, and unleashed an invincible attack. This attack destroyed many restrictions in the Sky Clan's ancestral land and bombarded the Sky Clan's huge gate. The terrifying power alarmed the entire Sky Clan,